Hello. Good morning. Welcome back. Let's go ahead. We are in the last part of our introduction of direct taxes, last part of tax rates. First of all, we are done with tax as per old regime of all assessees, including rebate, surcharge, cess, all conditions. Then we started with new taxation regime. Under the new taxation regime, there are some common features in all the 5 sections: BAA, BAB, BSc, BAD, BA. Common factor: compared to old regime, your tax rate will be lower. We are still with BSc only, but we have already seen that the tax rates are lower. For getting this reduction of tax, you will have to forego certain exemptions and deductions. Therefore, your income will be higher. MAT AMT will not be applicable. MAT for companies, AMT for other assessees, but special rates will be applicable. So you segregate your income into normal rate, special income, special rate. Normal income you can take old regime or new regime. Correct? Hai? The new regime is going to be optional and you have to decide before the due date. These are common points. But 115 BAC, the section that we have completed with the tax rates, 115 BAC had certain differences. Difference number 1, 115 BAC will cover resident as well as non-resident, but the other sections will cover only domestic company or resident cooperative society. Difference number 2, very important. If, and you have to focus because exam ka question will come on that. If they use the word default regime for the 4 sections, it will be old. So option is to go to new. But for 115 BAC, the default regime is new. So you have option of going to old. Correct? In the 4 sections, option once taken of new cannot be changed. But in 115 BAC, if you are non-PGBP case, you can change year-on-year basis. And if you are PGBP case, you can go from new to old, come back from old to new, but you cannot go back to old again. Unless if you stop having PGBP. We completed the tax rates also. We have to do the last thing now here, the tax benefits that have to be foregone. This is the last thing. The exemptions and deductions that will be foregone if you have decided to pay tax as per the new regime. Now this is a long list. Okay, if I have to start making the list, honestly speaking, these are 20 different exemptions. I don't have to prove to you that I know the list by heart. Karu? First, section 10(5) exemption of leave travel allowance. Section 10(13)(a) exemption of house rent allowance. We have section 10(14) where you had some exemptions like children education allowance, children hostel allowance, tribal area allowance. Kuch you remember from intermediate? Children education allowance maximum 100 rupees per month for maximum 2 children. Children hostel allowance maximum 300 per month for maximum 2 children. Hello. Tribal area allowance maximum 200 rupees per month. Subject to some exceptions. In this, there was an exemption for handicapped employee 3,200 rupees per month. Transport allowance. Faint memories? That is allowed even in new regime. So there are some exceptions. If we talk about the next thing in salary ka chapter, you observe all of this is income from salary. So section 16(2) and section 16(3), that is deduction for entertainment allowance, which is available only to government employees, and deduction of professional tax paid, which is available to all employees, will be available only in old regime. See, ये heading क्या है? That new regime में ये some exemption deduction you will not get. That means in old regime you can take standard deduction, entertainment allowance, government employees, and professional tax on employees. But in new regime you can take only standard deduction. Achha, by the way, I would like to tell you some history. When new regime came for the first time, they said section 16 not allowed. Matlab standard deduction also not allowed. Hello. And the other two obviously also not. But they wanted to make the new regime look attractive. Attractive nahi, only look attractive. So they said from now, I think it was an amendment after you people cleared CA. From now standard deduction will be allowed. Matlab standard deduction in old regime, new regime, dono mein it will become 50,000 rupees. That means the other two deductions will not be allowed. Then next year they again made an amendment, which was last year, assessment year 25-26. That old regime ke andar we are getting 50,000 ka standard deduction. New regime mein, to make it look attractive, first it was not allowed only. Then it became allowed same amount, 50,000 in old regime, 50,000 in new regime. Now they have increased quantum of standard deduction for those who are going in new regime. So old regime में standard deduction 50. Question 1. Will you get standard deduction in new regime? Yes. In fact, higher amount of 75,000. Do you understand? So यहाँ पे we can't discuss this only. Means in new regime you will not get only entertainment allowance and professional tax deduction. ये है tax benefits to be foregone from income from salary. If we talk about our exempt income का chapter, there is a section 10(17) tax exemption of daily allowance and entertainment allowance of MP, MLAs, member of parliament, member of assembly. They get something called daily allowance. They get something called constituency allowance. Constituency allowance is basically given to them to spend for the people who have voted for them. What do you mean by constituency? The place from where you get elected, from where you win elections, is your constituency. For example, Varanasi is the Lok Sabha constituency of Narendra Modi ji. Yeah, Wayanad in Kerala is the Lok Sabha constituency of, earlier it was Rahul Gandhi, but I think now it is Priyanka Gandhi. I'm not 100% sure. Gandhinagar is the Lok Sabha constitution of Amit Bhaisha. If we talk about Mumbai, I come from South Mumbai. South Mumbai ka Lok Sabha member of parliament is a gentleman called Mr. Arvind Sawant. That place, the people of that particular place have voted for you, and that will be called your constituency. You will be given funds from the government to spend for those people. Isliye many a times you come across big plates on gardens, roads. This garden was beautified by the MP fund given by Mr. So and so. This road was reconstructed by the MLA fund given by Mr. So and so. The area from where we are conducting physical lectures right now, Mulund, Mumbai. Earlier there used to be a member of assembly called Siddharth N, which now, of course, he has passed away some time back, and the new member of assembly here is a person called Mr. Mihir Kotecha. So Siddharth N has spent so much money for the people of this area. Even today, so many places, so many gardens, you see his name. That is called constituency allowance. All that is fully exempt. Which section? 10(17). But that exemption will be given only in the old regime. So if you go to new regime, you will not get it. If you are taking deduction under section 10AA, deduction for doing business in SEZ, at Inter we do this section. SEZ ka tax benefit is given for 15 years. First 5 years, next 5 years, and last 5 years, different calculation. Intermediate mein only the first 2 slots are important. Final mein, in our book, if you check, the 6th chapter in volume 1 is a chapter called Special Economic Zone. Check. You don't trust me? Check. Special Economic Zone is a chapter where we will get deduction, but that deduction will be given only in the list. If I continue the list, so under income from house property, no deduction in SOP, interest ka deduction. LOP mein you will get because you are showing good number of sections of PGBP. Just quickly listen to them. Additional depreciation, extra tax benefit, nahi mile. 35 AD, investment linked deduction, warehousing of agriculture, cold chain facility. In new regime, you will not get all of this. Contribution to scientific research association, college, university will not be allowed in the new regime. These are tax benefits from PGBP. Capital gain mein there is not a single tax benefit that has to be foregone. Capital gain, old regime, new regime is absolutely same. Income from other sources mein there used to be one tax benefit. Family pension. I would like to remind you. Family pension. Whenever employee retires, employee will get pension that is taxable in salary. But after the death of the employee, the spouse of the employee will get pension. And that pension is family pension. Because there is no employer-employee relationship, that income is taxable, not under salary, but under income from other sources. And against family pension, there used to be a deduction. 1/3 of the pension received or 15,000 rupees per annum, whichever is lower. Family pension ka deduction. Kya deduction? 1/3 or 15,000, whichever is lower. When new regime was introduced for the first time, they said not allowed. So this deduction was allowed in old regime, but not allowed in new regime. Then they amended it. Bola no, allowed. Matlab, can I say this restriction is gone? Just like standard deduction. And you know what they did last year, AY 25-26. Just like standard deduction in salary, 1/3 or 25,000, whichever. Matlab first not allowed, then same amount. Now there is two things where the deduction in new regime is higher than old regime. One, salary ka standard deduction 75,000. Two, family pension ka deduction. Maximum limit is increased. Obviously, it is 1/3 or 25,000. Your tax benefit to be foregone from income from other sources. Next chapter, clubbing of income. Clubbing of income makes section at 1030. Whenever minor ka income is added in income of parent, the parent will get exemption. Amount clubbed or 1,500 per annum, whichever is lower. If I talk about the chapter called set off and carry forward of losses, I am going in the order of chapters. If you suffer any loss under income from house property, which head of income? House property. Dekho, listen to this carefully. In new regime, SOP mein there cannot be loss. Please digest that. In new regime, SOP mein there cannot be loss. Why? Because interest ka deduction is not allowed. But LOP mein there can be loss. Because LOP ka deduction is allowed. And by the way, let me remind you, because salary, house property are not in your syllabus, so we will not get chance to discuss it in detail. That in LOP, there is no limit on interest. Unlimited deduction is allowed. SOP mein there was limit. Maximum 30,000, but subject to conditions, maximum 2 lakhs. LOP, it was unlimited. SOP ka to not allowed. LOP mein allowed hai. Can LOP become loss? Yes. Old regime mein house property ka loss is allowed to be set off against other heads of income, but maximum 2 lakh rupees. House property loss against other heads of income, maximum 2 lakh. Here, house property ka loss against other heads of income, not allowed. You can't set off. You will have to carry forward. House property loss against other heads of income, new regime mein allowed in. Old regime mein allowed, but maximum 2 lakh. New regime mein this set off is not allowed. All these things, scientific research, 35 AD, all that, special economic zone. Yesterday also I told you, open front camera of your phone and check yourself. What is the probability of you starting hospital with 100 beds? Impossible nahi hai, but chances kya lagta hai? 100 में से क्या %? 4%. कैसे? ऐसे random guess. Good. But you know what? You and me will not get affected with all the things that they have written till. That one thing that is going to cause a trouble in your life and my life, the deductions under chapter 6A. So life insurance ka benefit gone. Medical insurance ka benefit gone. Sir, by the end, if auntie survives for some more years, which she is going to, the biggest hope that we had in 2024 was change in finance minister. And now that she has survived, you have to tolerate her till 2029. Correct? Eh? So by the end, we are all going to be eligible for 80U also. But only in the, to take 80U also, you have to be in the old age. These are, some famous sections. If I talk about something which is not very famous, but it applies to all of us, there is deduction of 80 TTA, TTD. TTA, saving account interest for individual HUF, and TTB, saving or FD or RD for resident senior citizen. TTA maximum limit 10,000, TTB maximum limit 50,000, but not allowed in the new regime. You understand? You are foregoing all this for saving 2,32,500 rupees. Chapter 6 is not allowed, but chapter 6 there are exceptions. Chapter 6 ka deduction new regime mein not allowed. But the moment I write exceptions, means these deductions, do you realize, allowed in old as well as new both. And it is these deductions on which they ask a good number of adjustments in exam. 1. There is a section 80 CCD subsection 2. Employer's contribution to notified pension scheme. Subsection 1 mein it is employee contribution. That won't be allowed because exception is only subsection 2. Employer contribution. Or logic बहुत simple है. When employer contributes in NPS, we are first adding in the salary because that is over and above salary. So add in salary, take deduction, and then we have to give the deduction whether old regime or new regime. मतलब subsection 1 only old regime. There is 1B also 50,000 rupees. छोड़ दो, वी आर गोइंग टू डू चैप्टर 6 से, वो सिलेबस में है. वी आर गोइंग टू डू subsection 1b only in old regime, but subsection 2 old as well as new regime. We have a section 80 CCH subsection 2. This Agnipath scheme wala section was there in your syllabus. I don't remember whether it was there in 2023. It came in May 20. I think it was amendment in May 24. Contribution to Agnipath scheme. So I will have to give you a little idea of what this Agnipath scheme, Agniveer Corpus Fund is. थोड़ा सा आइडिया. ये सेक्शन डिटेल में वी विल डू चैप्टर 6 के अंदर. देखो, सैलरी हाउस प्रॉपर्टी नॉट इन सिलेबस, तो सैलरी हाउस प्रॉपर्टी से रिलेटेड एग्जेम्पशन डिडक्शन मे नॉट कम इन अवर सिलेबस, बट चैप्टर 6 से इज इन अवर सिलेबस. एंड आफ्टर आई फिनिश वॉल्यूम 1 and वॉल्यूम 2, आई एम द ओनली professor in the country, and this is the only coaching class in the country where in CA final we also do intermediate ka topics, the heads of income. I used to earlier do salary house property also. अब वो syllabus में नहीं है, इसलिए I am not doing. PGBP capital gain, obviously I am going to do clubbing set of chapter 6A also with you. मैं बोला ना volume 1, 2, 3, volume 3 में those chapters. And I am, you know, over my so many years of experience, it's been 15 years now. What happens when I start volume 3? Overconfident students. Sir, ये तो sir, we have studied in intern. तो अभी बोलना CCH2. But first of all, CCH2 was not in your syllabus only. Last 3 years, you understand there will be changes. And secondly, supposingly there is no change. For example, depreciation section 32, absolutely no change between your intern and final. तो क्या you remember full block asset method? Additional depreciation, everything. बोल ब्लॉक में प्रॉफिट कब आएगा, ब्लॉक में लॉस कब आएगा, ऑल एसेट सोल्ड तो क्या, सम एसेट, यू डोंट रिमेंबर दैट. सो प्लीज अवॉइड ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस, बिकॉज ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस में इफ यू स्टॉप कमिंग टू क्लास, एंड इट इज अ जनरल ऑब्जर्वेशन, अबाउट 20-30% स्टूडेंट्स स्टॉप अटेंडिंग लेक्चर्स when we start volume 3, and it is those 20-30% students who don't get the amount of marks they expect or they want. When you are a good student, your expectation is higher, no? पास हो जाता है, दे पास, बट देन सर यार आई वांटेड टू गेट 70-80, बट सर आई गॉट 65. सर ठीक है, अभी आई हैव पास सीए, दैट इज मोर देन आई हैव गॉट एग्जेम्पशन आल्सो, बट ऑल योर लाइफ यू विल हैव दिस रिग्रेट, यार आई वाज गुड इन डायरेक्ट टैक्स, शायद 10 मार्क्स और आ जाता, 1 मार्क, आई वाज गुड इन द सब्जेक्ट, यू विल ऑलवेज हैव दिस रिग्रेट. एंड ऑफ कोर्स ये थोड़ा सा मेंटालिटी पे भी डिपेंड करता है. इफ यू आर लाइक ए सर 60 also we don't want, 50 पास होने के लिए कैसे भी करके, तो फिर then you stop coming. It is as simple as that. I am going to cover these topics, and I am the only person who covers chapters like clubbing, set out, deductions also. I am not going to leave anything. So deductions का chapter I will do. Only rough idea I will give you right now, that government of India introduced something called an Agnipath scheme, under which we will maintain something called an Agniveer Corpus Fund. When the scheme was introduced, there was protest across the country. People were on the streets, riots kind of situation. Why? What is the problem with this scheme? What is this Agnipath scheme? And what is the income tax connection of this? Under the Agnipath scheme, people who are between the age of 17 to 21 will be recruited in armed forces. Not as full-time army employees, but as part-time Agniveers. Army का job will be only 4 years का job. After 4 years, compulsory retirement for 75%. Problem क्या था? That in our country, Shri Ram, farmers, cow, and armed forces are sensitive topics. You have to be very careful when you talk about them. I repeat, Shri Ram, cow, farmers, armed forces, they are sensitive topics. Be very careful when you talk about them, otherwise you are inviting trouble. And people have some kind of soft corner, some kind of emotional connect with people from the armed forces, army. Armed forces में supposingly someone joined, you know, as lieutenant या colonel या major, जो भी whatever are the ranks, somewhere in 2002-3. तो अभी 2025 में that person has completed 22 years. क्या हो रहा है रोज रोज? 2023 में that person has completed, sorry 25 में that person has completed. बोलना, I'll do my job, and that person is now retiring. Possible है? Do you realize after 1999 Kargil war there has been no war fought by India? Abhi bhi there was possibility of war, but ultimately war was not fought. Just imagine, somebody joined the army and is now retiring after 20-30 years without war. So action to kabhi dekha hi nahi. You know, Modi ji recently went and he was speaking to armed forces and he told them ke तैयारी कर लो, सीखा है तो यूज करने को काम आएगा. You saw his video? No. Just imagine, last 25 years you have not fought any war. Now you retire and you will take pension forever. Do you understand the economic burden it will put on our government? Paying pension for someone who has not fought the war. Just imagine government making an announcement that armed forces no pension because you haven't fought war. Do you understand what will happen? The government cannot stop pension of armed forces. Idea: don't give them such a long job. Join between 17 to 21. Work for 4 years. We will give you salary. Listen to this carefully. And over and above salary, we will contribute money in your corpus fund. Agniveer corpus fund. Salary plus corpus fund. Salary plus corpus fund. 2 contributions. After 4 years, you have to compulsorily retire. No pension. That corpus fund is your pension. That corpus fund will be your pension. Koi extra pension. And now you can't say, sir, I have given my life to the army. You have not given your life. 4 years. Compulsory retirement in 4 years. Matlab, normal recruitment in Indian army will discontinue. Compulsory retirement in 4 years. Out of 100 people recruited, only 25 will be continued. 75 have to retire so that we don't have to pay pension. Because our government wanted to stop paying pension, they decided to do army recruitments as a temporary thing. Now, what was the reason behind the protests in the country? Reason number one, understand that when a child is born, you know, he has a dream of becoming something one fine day. A child born in Bihar, the moment the child is born, ek din IAS banega. A child born in Maharashtra, the moment child is born, one day you will become a very big artist, because Maharashtra is a state of art in all forms. Whether it comes to poetry, Maharashtra has given India's first stand-up comedy. Pula Deshpande, whether you know, I don't know whether you know also his name. That art was introduced, the art of stand-up comedy was given by Maharashtra. If you talk about actors, singers, writers, Maharashtra has contributed, I think, probably more than any other state. When a child is born in Gujarat or Rajasthan, dukan. Dream hota hai. Dream. Likewise, when a child is born in Punjab, Haryana, North Indian states, you know, most families send their children in Indian army. That child from the birth has trained himself to one fine day join the army. Food habits, exercise habits are based with the goal of joining the army. And today, after 20 years of hard work, when time has come to join the army, you are telling me retiring 4 years. And what will I do after 4 years? You have finished my lifetime dream. And second, you are creating a weak army. Just imagine, highest experience 4 years. So people in the country protested. Sir, not fair. Oppositions, obviously, opposition party will raise an objection. Ye kya nonsense hai? And most important argument is, what will these people do after 4 years? See, at the age between 17 to 20, when you decide to make a career, you choose a career, then you have to go with it for the rest of your life. Just imagine, you giving 4-5 years to CA. And you are now being told that after 2 years of working as a CA, you have to compulsorily retire and do something else. So, abhi kya karu? Just imagine, you become a CA. Ho gaya? So many years of hard work. Now you are not allowed to work as CA. Do something else. So, मैं पागल हूँ. I have given 4-5 years here. What will I do? इसके अंदर now some of the state governments supported the central government. जो state government में political parties same as central government. The state government, for example, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister of that time, Shivraj Singh Chauhan ji, he is now, I think, Union Agriculture Minister. He said that anybody who retires from army after 4 years, or the Agniveer, we will give him priority in state government jobs. If there is any vacancy in state government, first preference will be given to Agniveer. Madhya Pradesh did it. Uttar Pradesh, pata hi hoga. Same political party. At that time, when Agniveer came for the first time, the Agnipath scheme was announced. Maharashtra maybe chief minister was BJP only, same as now. In between, there was a gap of about 5 years actually. But that time, Mr. Fadnavis only was the chief minister. He also said, Maharashtra maybe I will give preference to Agniveer, because they had to cover up the center ka scheme. This resulted in controversies across the country. Now, whether you are in support of this or no, government ka intention was simple. We don't want to give pension. And with that intention, what have they done? Normal recruitment in the army over. Temporary recruitment में two things will be given. One, salary, and two, contribution in the corpus fund. Do you realize salary plus contribution in the corpus fund is the total received from employer? That total will become income from salary. But that corpus ka money we are not getting right now. We will get at the date of retirement after 4 years. So that corpus ka money contributed by employer is the deduction in ETCCH subsection 2. Same as CCD2, employer contribution. You are not receiving the money, no? So add in income and minus whether old regime or new regime. It came in AY 24-25, so you may not have done. We'll discuss this when we do chapter 16. Normally, chapter 16 deduction is not allowed in new regime, but these deductions will be allowed. Next, there is a very, very important section 80, double J, double A. Every exam, almost every exam of inter and final, this comes in exam. Tax deduction for recruitment of new employees, job creation, employment generation ka section. This was there in inter. I'll just tell you the quantum. 30% of additional employee cost. So whatever is the salary paid to new employees, uska 30% is going to be your chapter 6 deduction, and that deduction will be given in the old as well as new regime. Exception. And there are two more sections that you have not studied at inter. They are not amendments, but they were not in inter ka syllabus. There is a section 80M. Whenever a company receives dividend from another company, can one company be shareholder of another company? Received dividend, and that company also distributed dividend to its own shareholders. So the amount received or the amount distributed, whichever is lower, is a deduction. Because normally companies don't distribute their profits because they want money in the business. A free mein dividend ka money came, so free mein they distributed it to the shareholders. So dividend received or dividend paid, whichever is lower ka ek deduction hai, only for companies. Company taxation inter mein aata nahi hai, and therefore section comes in final. This deduction will be in old as well as new regime. And there is a section 80L. Of course, if I talk about honestly 80M is not a part of 115 BAC ka discussion. Why? Because 115 BAC does not cover companies. But then 115 BAA and 115 BAB में तो है ना. Ultimately, new regime का whole concept और funda is same. Forgo tax benefits. So BAA BAB में भी they have said except chapter 6. मतलब chapter 6 are not allowed except the following. उसमें these two will not apply because they are related to employees. Employer contribution. End of the day, these sections will be allowed, whichever is the eligible assessee in the new regime, whether BAA, BAB, BAC, BAD or BAE. But all other chapter 6 deduction, 80C, 80D, 80G donations deduction, TTA, TTB, 80U. These are famous sections. There was a section 80DD when you have a disabled dependent. There was a section 80DDB, treatment of diseases like cancer, hemophilia, thalassemia. These sections. There was 80E, interest on education loans. याद आता? 80EE and EEA, interest on home loan. 80EEB, interest on loan taken for purchase of electric vehicle. All that will not be allowed. Contribution to political parties, 80GGB, GGC. All that will be not allowed. Only these sections will be allowed as a deduction in new regime. Whichever is applicable. This will be applicable to individual HUF. This will be applicable only to companies. This can apply to everyone. This can apply to everyone. But we will be discussing all these sections later in our syllabus. This is new taxation regime. You have to forego these exemptions and deduction. अभी ऐसा है that most of these things and PGBP का तो sections I spoke orally. I did not even write them. Additional depreciation 32(1)(2)(a), 35 AD. I did not write them because as we proceed in our syllabus and as and when we complete our chapters, one by one we will be doing all these sections except salary and property section. As a student, what is your job? What should you do? You will have to go through this list of tax benefits to be foregone from the textbook. Yeah, Abhi, now that 2 days ago only we were discussing that cost inflation index is not released, and then immediately cost inflation index was released, 376 for the current year. Now that the cost inflation index is released, I will be sending the handwritten book for printing. You will be having that book. MCQ edition question bank also will come very soon. I believe by the end of this month or mostly first week of August, all the books will be given to you. Okay, so in the handwritten book you can revise, or right now if you have the theory book, what you have to do is read this list. What is this list? Tax benefits to be foregone. Read this list. Okay. If you want, you can leave a space of about 25-30 lines in your notebook. If you are taking down notes in class, leave about 30 lines and you can copy the remaining sections like you are taking notes with me. But for this particular thing, tax benefits to be foregone, I am asking you to leave 25-30 lines. After that, what will you do? Go through the full list from the textbook. This list only. Exemptions, deductions to be foregone for the new taxation regime, subject to certain exceptions. Correct? Supposingly today you go through the list. Today is which day? Friday. So Sunday ko evening mein open this blank paper and write this. See, right now you revise or you read and immediately you start writing. So it will be fresh. It won't serve the purpose. Go through it right now. Then take a gap of 2 days. After 2 days, how many things do you remember? Out of 20, if you are able to remember 15 also, 10 to 15 also, so you are ready for the exam. As and when we go further in the syllabus, these things will come again and again. You, honestly speaking, do not have to memorize the list. You just have to go through. You know how it will be tested in exam. They will give you ABC Limited has recruited new employees and given charitable to charitable and given donation to charitable trust. Calculate the total income, assuming that the company is in old regime. So then take 80J and 80JJAA both. Calculate the tax liability. So old regime के हिसाब से you will apply 30% or 25% because domestic company में 2 options. What will be your NTTI if the company goes to the new regime? Everything will be same, but chapter 6A will not be allowed. Wrong. 80JJAA will be allowed. Only 80G will not be allowed. So only that much will be changed in your income and apply tax as per new regime. So basically the testing will be in the form of solving of problems, and that we will practice. Okay. You go through the list and try to write at least 10 to 15 after. ऐसा नहीं कि I have said 15 तो sir I remember 20 but I will write only 15. I am saying try to write maximum. It is going to serve the purpose. Are we clear on this? That was discussion of your section 115 BAC, the most important section when it comes to intermediate. But let me remind you that you are no longer a CA inter student. Now you are studying for CA final. And when you come to CA final, you are going to be majorly tested on these sections. 115 BAA, BAB, and also 115 BAD, BAE. Major testing will be on these two parts. This part is applicable to domestic company and this part is applicable to resident cooperative society. Khali cooperative society, resident cooperative society. It can be registered in any other country. क्यों नहीं? Non-resident Indian income के लिए taxable होगा. Can they have some activities in India? So Indian income is taxable for everyone. Possibility is less. Possible to hai. Okay. Everyone is with me? You think these two are similar and these two are similar because the assessee is same. Wrong. The only same thing in these two is, the only similarity in these two is assessing. Everything else is different. This is tax benefit for newly incorporated manufacturing companies. So they have lower tax rate compared to trading companies or service providing companies. So they have lots and lots of conditions. And on similar lines, we have two things here. This is tax benefit for manufacturing cooperative society, and this is all other cooperative society. So we have more similarities in these two sections. Everything in these two sections is same. Tax rate is also same. The only difference in BAA and BAD is the assessing. And likewise, these two sections have more similarity. The only difference is, and all other conditions are same. So we are not going to learn BAA and BAB together. We are going to learn BAA and BAD together. We are not going to learn BAD, BAE together. We are going to learn BAB and BAE together. The first two sections that I am going to do with you are actually 115 BAA and 115 BAD. Be clear, ladies and gentlemen. What is the only difference? That this section is applicable to domestic company and this section is applicable to resident cooperative society. In fact, other than this, everything else is actually same. Everything else is same. For example, is new regime going to be optional? Same. Hello? Default regime? Old. Left side, na? Default is old. Therefore, we will have to exercise option of new on or before 139(1) return filing due. Same. For these two, once taken, irreversible. They can never change. I am not going faster. We have already discussed all this. Okay. Next. Now see, point B, C and D are same. So I wrote them in between. Point A was different. So point A I have written separately. Next point is actually different. If we talk about BAA, it's a company. So the alternate tax applicable to companies is minimum alternate tax. So MAT not applicable. But here we will say, actually this point also I can write common here saying MAT AMT not applicable. But company ka MAT and other assesses AMT. MAT AMT are also chapters in our syllabus. At an appropriate time, we will discuss them. What is the most important factor, or what are the only two factors that we have to study about the two sections, the new taxation regime? Because these points we have already covered in common points. Abhi kya baki hai? What is the only thing remaining? Two things. Tax rates and tax benefits to be foregone. So congratulations. The tax benefits to be foregone are absolutely same as what you have studied in BAC. All are same. Obviously, except those which are applicable only to individuals. For example, leave travel allowance, या house rent allowance, या standard deduction in salary cannot come only for company and cooperative society. But what are the common things? Additional depreciation, scientific research का section, 35 AD का section, special economic zone का section, chapter 6A with the exceptions, 80M, 80LA, 80CCAA, everything is absolutely same. In fact, the number of points here are less than 115 BSc. 115 BSc में we have 20 points because उसमें salary का भी all the points are there, house property का points are there. Here only 10 of them are applicable. So if you learn that list, this list is over. This list is a part of that list. Same tax benefits have to be followed. You understand? And once you forego the tax benefits, you are going to be given a very concessional tax rate. Main feature of new regime is reduction in tax rate. The basic tax for both BAA and BAD, basic tax is going to be 22% flat. Cooperative society B 22% flat. Basic tax 22%. एक second. Only on normal income. Hello? And this also I have discussed that special rate will always apply. Old regime or new regime we have to discuss only with respect to normal income. Correct है? Special income will always go in special rate. So basic tax will be 22%. Rebate ka I will not discuss. Let's not waste time. Rebate is not applicable to other assessees. Rebate is applicable only to individual. After basic, what is the next thing? Surcharge. Now let me remind you that in normal, that is old regime, surcharge comes when your income crosses a certain level. For individual each year it was 50 lakh, and for companies and cooperative society it was 1 crore. After 1 crore it was 7%. After 10 crore it was 12%. Domestic company and cooperative society ka to same tha. Your surcharge will be 10%. Rate is not that important. Rate is important. You have to learn. But what is more important? Everybody please focus. Means if your income is 1 rupee as per new regime, still there will be 10% surcharge. 22% basic and 10% surcharge. Fixed surcharge. This surcharge does not depend on income earned. 1 rupee income, still 10% surcharge. Or 1 crore rupee income, or 10 crore rupee income, or 100 crore income. Surcharge in new regime, in these two sections, surcharge in new regime is fixed 10%. Fixed, it will always come. You know, when I reach this level, some students start objecting to this. Sir, आपने बोला कि tax rate will be lower. Tax rate will be lower. Old regime में surcharge may or may not come. New regime में surcharge will always come. So this is becoming higher. No, bro, it is not becoming higher. I will prove it to you. Third thing, at least this requires no explanation. क्या? HEC 4%. एक काम करो, ये जो always that we have written in bracket now, I hope you realize you can actually write it for HEC also, because HEC will always apply only 4%. What you need to understand is, while it is looking like new regime का tax ज़्यादा हो गया, let's use a little knowledge of arithmetics and check what is the effective tax rate. Learn किया. Basic tax 22%. 10% sir, पागल लोग, 22 plus 10 plus 4 is not 36 sir. 22 plus 10 plus 4, I hope you have not done that. 10% on 22 will be 2.2. So total हुआ, and उसका 4%. अभी करो already. And when you add that, the effective rate is going to be 25.168%. Tax rate in the new regime, net effective, and I hope you understand, always it will be 25.16, because surcharge is compulsory. Let's compare the rate with old regime. Old regime mein, in companies, first answer was 30%, and that was also basic. Surcharge may or may not come. Let us assume no surcharge. Aaya to it will be higher only. Cess is compulsory. Bro, without adding cess, the basic is only higher. Do you agree with that? Only basic rate is higher than this rate. Correct? Matlab, in 30% companies, so you don't have any doubt. Is rate in new regime lower? Fantastic. Now you know where your doubt is going to come. Sir, there are some companies which go in 39, 25. Sir, 25 is so lower than this. So bro, that 25 is only basic tax. Correct? Hai? Now again you will argue with me. Haan, lekin sir, 25 is basic tax. So what? Old mein surcharge does not come always. Agreed. Surcharge does not come always. But old mein cess will come always. Do you understand? This is all inclusive. Let us assume no surcharge. And only cess is added in the 25%. Only 25% plus cess will still make it higher than this 26%. Samjha? And obviously, if there is surcharge, it will further increase. Do you understand? Don't compare basic with total. No. Basic, assuming no surcharge, say basic plus HEC is still more than 25.16. Correct? Hai? As far as cooperative societies are concerned, now please understand. If we talk about old regime, I agree that first 10,000 and next 10,000 they get 10% and 20%. Agree. That means only the first 20,000 rupees they get 10% or 20% of benefit. Do you know that in old regime after 20,000 ka income, cooperative societies will also come in 30%? And obviously then that will be higher than this. So the only possibility where cooperative society ka rate of tax is lower if a cooperative society has earned less than 20,000. But then such assessees are not in our big level ka discussion. You think old is better, take old. Story over. Okay. Majorly to 30% ही होगा, and therefore the tax in new regime is still going to be lower. In fact, that was basic. We are not even talking about surcharges. Clear hai? And these are going to be the tax rates for companies and cooperative societies which are non-manufacturing companies and cooperative societies. Please understand. If you are, look at 115 BAA, BAB, they are over. BAA and BAD, they are over. What is the only difference in them? Did you realize all points are same? MAT AMT also I can merge and write it as one point only. Everything is same, right up to the last point, tax rate. There is only one difference between BAA and BAD. The only difference is assessing. Everything else is same. Check this and tell me. Companies in trading business, yeah, cooperative society in trading business, will they be eligible? Yes. If they are service providers, will they be eligible? Yes. Do you agree? No conditions. And rate of tax effective all inclusive 25.16. Because when you are manufacturers, the other two sections, I am giving you a little introduction of the other two sections. Manufacturers, that is BAB and BAE. These conditions are very easy. It's normal. The rate of tax, this final answer, all inclusive, here it is coming to, there it will come to 17.16. I am giving you the rate in advance. No need to write it. We are going to those sections. Do you realize the assessee here is same as the assessee here? This is also domestic company and cooperative society. This is also domestic company and cooperative society. Still, there is a difference of 8%. Hello? Because we want to encourage our manufacturers. Are we giving you massive tax benefit? So there are going to be many more conditions. Only these conditions are not enough. If you observe, here to get this concessional rate is 25.168. Concessional compared to old regime. Is it concessional compared to old regime? Hai na? Actually, there is only one condition. That forego certain tax. There is no other additional extra condition. But in BAB and BAD, the tax rate is ridiculous. Bro, just imagine if I am told that your income tax rate will be 17%, I will declare every rupee that I earn. You don't have any assessing officer in your family? Anyone? Heck yeah, so please tell me. If I am told that my income tax rate is 17%, I will not conceal a single rupee of income. I will not evade a single rupee of tax. 17 is reasonable. It's a massive tax benefit. and thus we have many more conditions. खाली इतना condition नहीं, these conditions will apply plus more conditions will apply, which we will learn obviously now. बोलो क्या होगा इब्राहिम? No, they wanted to keep the effective tax rate 25.168 just below 26. देखो, we're not comparing with 30. There are some companies which fall in 25. 25 plus cess will make it 26. Correct? They wanted to keep this effective rate just below that. You understand? It is almost touching 26. मैं बता रहा हूं. Wait, I understood your question. Let me complete. Okay. If we keep such a small difference, that is 26 and 25.168, so people will not be motivated to go to the new regime. लोगों को लगेगा difference is too small, and in reality the difference is too small. I am not comparing 30% companies, I am only comparing 25% of the companies. And 400 crore का turnover is such a big turnover that most domestic companies today end up falling in 25% only. One of the students in the class, he assumed 25 because all his clients are very. याद आया? Now we want to show the gap between old regime and new regime a little bigger. तो कैसे दिखाए? We want this effective tax rate. लेकिन this we want to not show publicly. तो publicly हम लोग क्या बोलेंगे? What will we say publicly? 22 है. That only you and me who have knowledge of the law know that 22 actually is not 22, it is 25.168. So public ko we will go and say 22, and then they will compare कि अच्छा 30 से तो कम है, 25 से तो it is still 3% का difference, but in reality that is 26, this is 25.168. We don't want to show that gap, therefore we segregate it as a basic and surcharge and HEC करके, so that we are able to show कि if somebody is asking me new regime में कंपनी का टैक्स रेट क्या है, तो we will say 22. Understood? Only you and me understood that it is not actually 22, it is 25.168. So sometimes presentation also matters. If at the end of my subject I ask you feedback, कैसा लगा? Today I am not asking for feedback. Today, the fact that you are sitting in the fourth lecture automatically means that something good is happening. Because abhi ka generation of Gen Z students, 5 minutes of class they don't like. They are capable enough to stand up in the middle of the class also and leave. Unlike us, who used to think कि यार चल ना फीस भरा है तो let's go ना, घर का AC से better class का AC. We are Marwadis. But the thought process was a little different. Today's generation will not spend 5 extra minutes. If at the end of the batch, I will ask you for feedback. Bola, sir, everything was good, but when you write on the notepad, no, your handwriting is not good, which I am aware. You are not the first person who is telling me that. My tuition teacher in junior KG used to tell me, improve your handwriting. I was in junior KG. No, it is not going to happen. And someone told me that when you are intelligent and fast thinker, no, so you can't have good handwriting. Intelligent people have bad handwriting, and in CA exam it is an asset. Please understand, a subject like audit, you will not know anything, still you have to write. So if you write in good handwriting, the paper checker will understand what you have written. So write in bad handwriting. It is actually good in CA exam that handwriting is not good. So all the good work done over 2.5 months, 3 months is possibly going to get defeated just because, sir, sab kuch acha tha, but your handwriting was not good. Presentation matters. You understand, when we compute income, so we have to show it as salary, house quality, PGBP, capital gain. You can't write gross total income at the top and salary under it. Presentation matters. And that policy government is following in the form of presentation. They can't show 26 and 25.168 for comparison. They have to show 22 and 25. Yeah, 22 and 30 is the reason why. You understood what he asked? Sir, direct 25.168 bolo na, why are you saying 22 and 10 and 4? But I hope you've also understood the question. The question answer, the presentation matters. Clear, everyone? Fantastic. So now we go to the last two sections. Section 115 BAB. and section 115 BAE. These two sections have been introduced as a tax incentive for manufacturers. And because these two sections are introduced as a tax incentive, a bigger tax incentive, I want to start with that point first. अगर आप observe करोगे, in the previous two sections I first wrote assessing, but here I want to start with the last point first. What was the last point? Tax rate. Because if I write assessee, domestic company, resident cooperative society, those who have not been paying attention till now will get confused. Sir, kya same assessee you are doing? No, same assessee, but a massive tax benefit in the form of tax rate. Where again same thing they are doing. तो अभी ये लोग क्या बोलेंगे? Listen, they are not going to say 17.16. They will say, listen, manufacturers, if you do manufacturing, your rate of tax in our country will be only 15%. Manufacturing का tax rate, manufacturing business का tax rate only 15. But of course, only on normal income. Hello, because whether I mention this or no, this will always apply. So basic tax rate 15 plus surcharge 10% and plus HEC 4%. And what is the difference in surcharge here in these sections compared to surcharge normally under income tax? Slabs nahi. Their surcharge may or may not come. It will depend on income threshold, 10%, 15%, 25, 37. This surcharge will come always. Whether income is 1 rupee or 1000 crore, surcharge is fixed. And this will make your effective tax rate 17.16%. Your effective tax rate for the manufacturing business in the new regime is going to be, kya bro? 17.16%. Compared to the previous two sections of the same assessment. मतलब सुनो, these two are new regime. Come on, these two are new regime. They are also new regime. Assessee is also same. Same assessee, same regime, and 8% difference in effective tax rate. दिख रहा है 8% difference, 17.16 and 25.168. Same assessee, same regime, but such a big difference because we wanted to give some genuine tax benefit to our manufacturers. So obviously there are many more conditions here, and out of the many conditions, one of the conditions will be you should be in manufacturing business. We will write all the conditions. First, we will write all the common conditions that were applicable here also. For example, assessee. You understand I am writing assessee in point B because this time I have written tax rate first. Assessee कौन? Here it will be domestic company and here it will be resident cooperative society. In fact, I am going to do nothing but only copy these points from the previous two sections because all conditions that we have studied for 25.168 will be applicable here. Listen to this carefully. All conditions that are applicable for 25.168 will also be applicable for 17.16, plus there will be extra conditions. But this part is common. All this will apply. So assessee ho gaya. Next. New regime is always going to be optional. Same condition hai, koi difference nahi. Next. Default regime. Kya? Default regime will be old. That means you have to same exercise the option of new owner before the 139(1) due date. Pura point same hai. Hello. That means before the 139(1) due date, if you do not exercise any option, then we will put you in old regime. Yes or no? Next point. Once taken, cannot change, you will always remain in new. That point is also same. And so no, all the points that we have written here only are getting repeated if you understand. Ye point bhi same hai. That means exercise your option before the due date. That point is same. Once you go in new regime, you cannot change. That point is same. Next point bhi same hai. What? New regime ke andar But under company I will say MAT not applicable, and under cooperative I will say AMT not applicable. So this point also again becomes same, correct? Or I can merge these two and write MAT AMT not applicable depending upon assessing. Does not make any difference. Do you realize I have written all the conditions of these two also under the next two? Next kya hai? Absolutely same. Absolutely same. All the tax benefits to be foregone. Whatever tax benefits have to be foregone in 115 BAC, whether it is additional depreciation or scientific research or 35 AD or chapter 6A, all those have to be foregone here as well. Absolutely, absolutely same. Means I want you to first digest a fact and listen to this carefully, because if you listen to what I am now saying, a lot of things that are coming up. Let me be clear, 115 BAB and BAE are not over. In fact, all the new conditions I am going to do with you now. But at this stage, I have a very important question for you. I have a statement to make. See, if you understand this statement, if you agree, that means my purpose is achieved. I want you to understand that any assessee who is going to fulfill the conditions of these two sections. In fact, there are many more conditions. We have H, I, J, K, L. We have many conditions. Matlab, you will have to fulfill all of them. That means you are fulfilling all these conditions. The statement that I am making is any assessee which fulfills conditions of 17.16 is also actually fulfilling all conditions of 25.16. Because for 17 point, hello, if you want to sit there, you will have to do it always. Hello, you can hear me, no? If I fulfill conditions of 17.16, I have automatically fulfilled conditions of 25.168 also. Do you understand what I am saying? Take minute, please understand. For 17.16, do we have extra conditions? Please understand what I am trying to make you understand. Do we have extra conditions? Is it possible that I have fulfilled all of them? So I will get 17.16, which is a very big benefit. Supposingly I don't fulfill some of these conditions. Supposingly I don't fulfill some of these conditions. Ye possible hai? So I will be disqualified from 17.16. But if I have done this much, so even if I am disqualified from 17.16, I can still take new regime under 25.168. Because am I a domestic company? Yes. Am I foregoing some exemptions and deductions? Yes. Am I deciding before the due date of return filing? Yes. 17.16 not available. But, matlab listen, point A to G, or A was tax rate, so B to G are conditions for 17.16 and 25.16. If I fulfill conditions till point G and later I don't fulfill the extra conditions, I can still take new taxation regime. I will be disqualified from this part, but I can take the previous one. I want to just make you understand this much, that any assessee who fulfills condition of 17.16 is also fulfilling condition of 25.16. By chance you get disqualified in 17.16. So please don't say, sir, new regime may say disqualified. Can you still be in new regime? But of course, the higher rate of 25.168. Is that understood? So chalo, let us now go and discuss what are the extra conditions that are applicable only and only for only and only for 17.16, you can say. When I say 17.16, no, I am covering companies also and cooperative society. Because again, if I say company, so only BAB will come. If I say cooperative society, so only BAE will come. So 17.16 bolunga, everything will get covered. Okay. You will have to be a newly incorporated company or cooperative society. Newly incorporated. देखो, this is where the knowledge of history will help you. When I wrote the sections of new regime first time in yesterday's class, I gave you the year in which the respective sections were brought. 115 BAB was brought in 2019 in the ordinance, September 1. 20th September 2019 को BAB was introduced and BAE was introduced in 23 का budget, therefore it was not in your syllabus in inter. This knowledge of year will help you to understand that when the section for manufacturer was brought, the announcement by auntie was that existing manufacturers of our country will not get this benefit. This benefit of 17.16 will be only if you are newly incorporated. Means from today, today when they say for 2019, they said you have to be incorporated on or after 1st October 19. Because ordinance came in September. So incorporation ka eligibility date is starting from 1st of October. And this came in 2023. So this has to be newly incorporated on or after 1st April 23. It came in 23 ka budget 1st February. So start date for eligibility of incorporation is 1st April 23. Matlab, what is common? Newly incorporated. But based on which budget they brought it, they have changed the date. So the company also has to be newly incorporated. The cooperative society also has to be newly incorporated, but they were announced in different budgets. So the date applicable to them is different. Otherwise, point H is common, but the date applicable is different. So company ka start date is 1st October 19 and cooperative society का start date is 1st April 23. ये clear है? एक second. Supposingly, I am in manufacturing business and I started my company or cooperative society before this date. मतलब I am old manufacturing company. तो new regime 25.168. Now you understood? Means traders 25.168. Service providers 25.168. Old manufacturers 25.168. Only new manufacturers. Only क्या बोला bro? Only new manufacturers के लिए it was 17.16. Anybody who is disqualified here can still, you can go and check 25.168. Newly incorporated on or after this date, and you have to start your manufacturing up to 31st March 24. देखो, you don't start business the moment you incorporate your company. Please understand. Starting the time will go in research. We will create an organization, conduct some research, some preliminary expenses. Finally, we will start our business. So, starting of company will be this date. But up to this date, you should start your business. Start manufacturing up to 31st March 24. ये भी common. What is the only difference on the company side and the cooperative society side? The start date. And that start date had to be different because that start date was announced only in two different budget. You understood? So this has to be a newly incorporated company or a newly incorporated cooperative society, and incorporation के लिए date was different because of different budgets. Manufacturing start करने का end date is same, 31st March 24. Is that clear? Common condition. Next, point I. Point I also I am writing in the center. Center में लिखा मतलब it is applicable to both left side as well as right side. What is the default regime? Old. That means you are going to exercise the option of taking new. That is going from default to new regime. That is going from old regime to new regime. Default is old, matlab option is new, and that is common for the previous two sections as well as these two sections. But are they newly incorporated organizations? Then you have to decide your option on or before 139 due date. I think this point you are aware. On or before return filing due date? Wait. Sir, you will be thinking, sir, kya kar rahe? You're repeating the point because we already wrote this. Exercise the option on or before the 139 due date. We already wrote this point. Sir, you are repeating the point. Wait. Now you will understand what they are trying to say. Are you a newly incorporated organization? Now you have been incorporated and you have started your manufacturing. Are you filing your first income tax return? In the first income tax return, you will have to decide that I want to go in new regime. In the first income tax return, if you select old regime, then 17.16 will not be available. So no, 1 minute. You will understand if I take you back to these companies. Are these companies any business, trading, service, everyone is eligible? These two. Everyone is eligible. BAA and BAD, everyone is eligible. Tell me one thing. If I am a manufacturer who is doing business since the last 20, 30 years, so you understand I will come in this section, not in 17.16. I have been filing my income tax return for the last 20, 30 years. There was no new regime. Now that you have introduced new regime, I can decide to go to new. I can continue to remain in old. I can do whatever I want. If I take new, I will be in new lifetime. I cannot come back. Correct? But do you realize I am not filing income tax return for the first time here? Because I am old company. But is this a new company? Are you going to file your income tax return first time because you are newly incorporated? So first return mein hi you will have to decide. Means for 25.168, it is not necessary to take your decision immediately. You can remain in old regime for some years. Once your additional depreciation scientific research is over, after 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, do what? Go from old to new. But you can't come back. Matlab 25.168 option can be taken after few years also. Any which way they are old companies. But 17.16 option has to be taken in the first year itself. First hour. Before the due date of first hour. Samjha? Everyone? Let me see how much. Am I a newly incorporated company? Yes. I am fulfilling all the conditions of manufacturer and everything. So I will become eligible for 17.16. But if I want 17.16, I will have to exercise the option. Before my due date of return is not the correct answer. The correct answer is due date of first return. If before first return, I choose 17.16, then will I go in new regime? And I will remain in new regime forever because it's reversible. Hello? If before the due date of my first return, I choose old regime. If before the due date of my first return, I choose old regime. So right now I will be in old regime. I have not exercised the option. So new regime applicable to me. Which new regime will apply to me? 25.168 will apply. Are you samjha? For 17.16 I have to choose in my first return. If 17.16 if I want, then I will have to choose for in my very first return. If I don't choose in my first return, तो क्या होगा? 17.16 will not be applicable. But mark the statement I am saying 17.16 is not applicable. क्या बोला sir? 17.16 is not applicable. I didn't say new regime not applicable. So even if 17.16 is not applicable, I can still take 25.168%. 17.16 भले ही not applicable, but I can still take क्या bro? 25.168. Because I repeat the statement, 25.168 का decision I can take some years later also. I am anyways an old company. But 17.16 का decision has to be taken in the first return. Samjha? Everyone? Fantastic. Now, more conditions, lots and lots more conditions. But one thing is clear, that all the extra conditions, like this also, they are all applicable for 17.16. If by chance I don't fulfill any of the extra additional conditions, I can still take new regime, but under 25.16. ये clear है? We live in a country called India, and India में ना we have lots and lots and lots of over smart people. Correct है? Fantastic. So Lokesh is running a manufacturing company since the last 30 years. Manufacturer है? Manufacturer. Lokesh, you are a manufacturer since last 30 years. Company या cooperative society? Domestic, of course. So you can take 17.16, Lokesh. क्यों? Old company है, and this is only for newly incorporated. तो बता, which new regime will apply to you? 25.16 है. But do you realize 17.16 is far more better? Direct 8% का difference है. तो लोकेश ने आइडिया लगाया. Guess कर. Lokesh abolishes or liquidates his company. Lokesh क्या था पूरे कंपनी का नाम? Lokesh Manufacturing Limited. He now incorporates Lokesh G Manufacturing Limited. You understood? And he is continuing the same business under the name of Lokesh G Manufacturing Limited. And what is the difference? Sir, why is he taking the trouble of liquidating one company and starting another company with a different name but doing the same business? क्या पागल है? नहीं, he is very smart. He is very, very smart. A silent killer है. I know him very well. When he used to attend my CA enter the lecture full batch में he did not speak a single word. I used to wonder कि he has some tongue भी है क्या नहीं है. एक single word he did not speak. नाम I knew. Then I conducted my first mock test paper to check. When my first mock test paper open challenge, you can't pass also. Forget about getting good marks. You will not be able to pass in my first mock test paper. I need to kill overconfidence in that. If you can pass that paper, your exemption is there. I check किसको highest Lokesh. Highest आया ना? Second आया. रोनित को highest आया. मैं बोला ये this boy never speaks in class. I am always wondering कि इसको class में he is understanding anything or no. But exam में he is writing everything. And he is writing everything nicely. Very smart he is. Think about it. Why did he liquidate one company and he incorporated another company? क्यों? Smart is. But why? Because newly incorporated company will get 17.16. Understood? We are Indians and we are champions when it comes to manipulation, exploitation of the law. So government बोलती है we are not foolish, and thus the next condition that it has to be a new organization. Your organization should not be formed by, and I am writing common, मतलब दोनों section को it is applicable. I am writing under both sections. Not formed by splitting up or reconstruction of any existing organization, of any existing company. Any existing company ko if you dissolve and start a new company doing the same business only to show that you are newly incorporated. नहीं चलेगा. Bro, and take this condition very seriously, very seriously. Because this condition that I have written here for manufacturing business ka benefit is not just applicable here. In your entire syllabus, this condition will come again and again, multiple chapters. For example, special economic zone. Same condition. क्या होगा? You are doing business in a normal area. Your neighboring area is declared as SEZ. So what to do? Sell this office and buy office in SEZ and do the same business. So benefit is not allowed. Same condition, not splitting up or reconstruction of existing business. 35 AD, investment linked deduction. Same condition, not splitting up or reconstruction of any existing business. There is a chapter 6 deduction, 80 IAC. This was not in inter ka syllabus. Tax deduction for startups. Newly incorporated startup. So again, what will people do? Shut down their existing startup and start the new company. Shadi.com startup है, but it's not newly incorporated. तो क्या करो? सबकी Shadi.com. What will people do? Liquidate existing organization and start showing themselves as newly incorporated. Same condition applies in lots and lots of chapters, lots and lots of sections. First time when I discussed this, here I made you understand location, locus G. Now again it will come in special economics. I'll tell you, not splitting up and reconstruction, matlab, you will say locus G. You understood? Existing company liquidate karke going there is not going to be allowed. Otherwise everyone will take the benefit. Clear hai? Yes, please. In that year it is violation. So starting में you were eligible, but then the moment you violate, you are going to be disqualified. From what? I understood. I understood. जब नया कंपनी इनकॉर्पोरेट हुआ, at that time is the new company fulfilling all the conditions given there. You understand old assessee and new assessee are different assessees. अलग company है ना? See, in the same company you can't add. That condition is coming. That same company में you are doing multiple businesses, so full company will be disqualified. वो condition आ रहा है. I'll tell you that condition orally. In any case, L point is that one. K नहीं, L. Only manufacturing, no other business. Only manufacturing, no other business. So same company में तो multiple business not possible only. If you are taking the benefit, so company has to be separately incorporated. That means, are we talking about two different assessees? Lokesh Limited and Lokesh G Limited. Lokesh Limited is a trader and Lokesh G Limited is manufacturer. So Lokesh Limited is eligible for 25.16. Lokesh G Limited is eligible for 17.16 as long as all the conditions are fulfilled. So 17.16 chalega. But the moment you merge Lokesh G Limited into Lokesh Limited, that means in that year you have violated the condition. So 17.16 ke liye you are disqualified because now you are doing multiple activities. It's a merger. Wait, are you disqualified for new regime? हाँ बोल. You will have to tell me. कौन सा new regime? Which new regime? 17.16 तो disqualified, no? Because merger हो गया. So which new regime you will get now? 25.16. Because those conditions you are still fulfilling. You are still not taking chapter 6A का deduction, additional depreciation, scientific research का benefit. So 25.16 will universally available. All extra conditions are only for 17.16. The moment violated, you get disqualified from 17.16. Simple question है. क्या ये condition was there in 25.16? नहीं. In fact, all the other conditions are not there. So 25.16 is always going to be easily available. Clear हुआ? Absolutely. वो L point में I will write only manufacturing, no other business. But for now, are you going to acquire plant and machinery for starting this? अरे manufacturer है bro. हाँ common है. See, common है. I will write it across. या एक काम question. Confusion हो रहा है? Point J was a big point, no? इसलिए I had to use my full line. K is a small point, so I am writing in the center. Common point. It should be a new plant and machinery. अरे manufacturer है ना bro? So you will have to buy new plant and machinery. That means second-hand plant and machinery is going to be disqualified. If you have acquired second-hand plant and machinery, you are not eligible for this section. But new regime 25.16. I think you all are clear about it. However, there is one problem which assessees are facing practically. That some manufacturing businesses are so complicated that India mein machinery is only not available. Understand the logic? India mein machinery is not available. So where to bring machinery for manufacturing? Import. Ab imported machine will become very expensive because we have to pay foreign currency. So how to reduce our cost? So second hand imported will be considered as new only. Second hand imported is allowed. मतलब local machinery should be new, imported can be new or second. So very quickly tell me, new local allowed, new imported allowed, second hand imported, अरे second hand but imported, so allowed. That means what is not allowed? Second hand local also allowed. Sir, क्या सुबह sir, what did you consume last night, sir? I am not going to tell you what I consumed last night. In any case, last night was Wednesday night, Thursday night. Huh? Only Saturday nights are different. So therefore, Sunday no morning class. Obviously, है ना? तो whatever I consumed last night, मैगी बना के खा. Doesn't matter. I am in my senses. In the classroom, I am always in my senses. I am never thinking about my neighbor's wife in the class. Never. Please allow me to complete. Second hand local will be allowed if it is up to 20% of total plant and machinery. If it is up to 25%. Okay, wait. Before I explain this condition with numbers, ये जो दो condition है ना, not splitting up and second hand local का restriction are a part of these two sections. They are a part of 35 AD is where you have studied in inter. 35 AD specified business के अंदर same two conditions. Special economic zone same two conditions. Startup वाला section same two conditions है. These two conditions are going to come again and again, multiple chapters. But in all the other chapters, for example, after this first time it will come in special economic zone because that is in volume 1. So there I will write not splitting up and reconstruction and maximum second hand local 20% because explanation is already done. All chapters are that way in. Okay. Same two conditions will come again and again in different chapters. So ये second hand local का फंडा क्या है? I will give you two examples. Try to understand. And common point है, so company and cooperative society both are covered here. So that is why I am writing in the center. Okay. Case 1. I have acquired new local plant and machinery 10 lakh rupees. Allowed है? Eligible? नहीं, we'll have to check no 20% का limit. अरे नहीं. We have to check only in second hand and this is new. So here we don't have to check 20% का condition. ये तो eligible, fantastic. Second hand imported 5 lakh, 3 lakh. Is that allowed? It is allowed, but provided it is 20% के limit में ना. अरे second hand, but imported is considered as new and therefore without any restriction it is going to be allowed. Correct है? चलो. Second hand local is normally not allowed, but we will also see how much is that. ये 3 lakh, ये 5 lakh. So what is my total? When I say total, एक काम करो, come to this total. When I say total, this total will include everything. मतलब I have to take this total. What is my total investment in plant and machinery? 18 lakh. What is 20% of 18 lakh? Huh? 18 का 26. 3.6. Is this within the limit? So this assessee will be eligible. This assessee will be disqualified. So total investment in plant and machinery. Investment. Second and local should be maximum 20%. You audit ka thing you are asking because you maintain all the blocks and then all the WDV separately. So yes, gross block. That. क्योंकि रिटर्न फाइल करते वक्त राइट ग्लॉस ब्लॉक नेट ब्लॉक इंटर में तो ये डाउट भी नहीं था ना सर. टू मच ऑफ ऑडिट. हाँ. Is that clear? Investment amount मतलब gross block, second and local maximum 20%. Clear हो गया? And I repeat, these two conditions will come on again and again, lots and lots of chapters. Everyone is clear? एक minute, listen. Is this guy disqualified? Is this guy disqualified? You tell me, disqualified from what? 17.16. Disqualified from 17.16. Correct है? Will be eligible for 25.168. Hello, everyone. चलिए, next. We are doing all the extra conditions. ये था point J and K. All the extra conditions that are applicable for 17.16. Very, very important. देखो, orally I have been continuously telling you manufacturer to make you understand what is the difference. But अभी तक points में I have not written manufacturer anywhere. Check करो. The most important factor behind giving 8% concession is, but I haven't written it anywhere. I am not written it anywhere. So right now we will be writing. Yeah. You have to be doing only manufacturing, and they are so specific and strict here. Only manufacturing, and very, very clearly, no other business. This is going to make you eligible for. This is going to make you eligible for. क्या? 17.168 नहीं है रे. 16. पागल हो गए. 17.16 है. 25.168. Supposingly you are doing non-manufacturing activity, trading, service provider. So new regime 25.168. Old manufacturers 25.168. New manufacturers fulfilling all conditions will come in 17.16. Supposingly, as a student you can have this doubt. For example, he asked me, sir, manufacturer, non-manufacturer, eligible business, ineligible business का merger. You understand? You are disqualified. If you do multiple businesses and manufacturing is one of your businesses, so disqualified. Your total business income, do you understand? Business A, business B, business C equal to your PGBP. Only one of them is manufacturing. So this whole PGBP will go in 25.16. You understand? But supposingly I had only business A which is manufacturing, and that is PGBP. Then this will go to 17.16. Clear हुआ? If I do any other business, along with manufacturing also, I will be disqualified, but I can take 25.168. No confusion now? Next, following businesses are ineligible. Let me sound repetitive. Okay, ऐसा लगेगा कि sir, you are stuck at one point, but it is very important to clarify this at all the places. You complete this, please. That will make me understand that you are following what is happening in class. The following businesses will look like, they will appear to be manufacturing, but they are not. And for understanding this, people will need to know the definition of manufacturing. Okay. First of all, unfortunately, there used to be a tax called excise duty on manufacture, which is abolished. Excise duty है क्या? On all your favorite products, we still have excise duty and VAT. Petroleum था, but alcohol depends. अपना favorite product. I was going to talk about petroleum, but he said alcohol. No problem. I said favorite product इसलिए. नहीं? बैग में? नहीं? Listen. Manufacture का definition is what? There is an input, it will go in a process, and there is an output. If input and output are two different things, if the identity of input and output is different, it is manufacture. And this you may have probably studied in somewhere in economics and etc. also. Input, process, output is manufacture. And anybody doing any stupid activity is trying to claim himself as a manufacturer for availing the benefit of. So following businesses, listen, you want to think that you are a manufacturer, very good. But for this benefit, you are not going to be considered as a manufacturer, even if input and output are two different things. Otherwise, you know how I will take 17.16. Just imagine I want 17.16. I will obviously first incorporate a component. And then I will say, I am in manufacturing business. Someone asked me, what do you make? I make CA. क्या बनाता है? CA बना. Actually, if I say CA बना रहा हूँ, sorry, but A is not applicable. Too deep, no? Too deep. You understood or no? ये पागल बोला क्या कुछ है? Give him a tight slap right now. You have my permission. You understand how people will start taking benefit? Hello? You understand how people will start taking benefit? So somewhere we have to stop. And thus, the following businesses are going to be ineligible. What? 1. Manufacture of software. Manufacture of what? See, even if you are manufacturing, you're making something, but that software business will be disqualified. Disqualified from what? But it's still going to be eligible for 25.168. Next, bottling of gas into cylinder. A batli, you focus. He is in some different zone only altogether. हाँ, but weekend is coming. अबे आया नहीं. अच्छा, your weekend starts on Friday only. Morning. नहीं, tomorrow morning we have class. After class you can start your weekend. Do you know that the gas cylinders that we use, when the product comes out of the cylinder, it is in gas form, but inside the cylinder it is in liquid form. LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. So these gas manufacturers are basically claiming that we are converting liquids into gases. We are manufacturers of gas. Lol. Nice. This is not going to be considered as. See, you can consider yourself manufacturer but disqualified from 17.16. Okay. Next, mining activity. You are only extracting the natural resources. You are not manufacturing anything. Therefore, disqualified. Mining, coal mining, gold mining, stone mining, any kind of mining. Next, conversion of marble. Patil, you keep your mouth shut. Don't speak anything. Because again, the moment I say marble, blocks into slabs, tiles. Just for your knowledge, okay? Rajasthan as a state is blessed with mountains, and from those mountains, actually stone ka extraction is done. So there is a place called Kota, which is famous for engineering activity also. But वहाँ से there is a special type of stone which is extracted from the mountains and used everywhere across the country. There is a place called Makrana, which is very, very famous for the quality of marbles, flooring wala marbles, flooring wala marbles. And believe me, some of the most expensive interiors are done. Like people actually say that my house is Makrana marble. After Makrana, it is direct Italian floor. top level. So we are extracting them. When extracted, it is not usable. You have to obviously shape that marble according. Taj Mahal is built with Makrana marble. ये मेरे को नहीं पता. I have no idea. वही होगा. Makrana makes all types of marbles. So now let's not get into that. Point is that was mountain में से जो stone you have removed, that you can't come and put on your bathroom का tile or wall. You have to convert it into tiles of your bathroom का size. That is not manufactured. नहीं तो बोलेगा कि sir, mountain is different from tiles. So manufacture. That is not considered as manufacture. Printing of, think about this. Books. Input is paper. Output is books. So people will start claiming, क्या? I am manufacturer. क्या बनाता है? Books. Lol. Not considered as manufacturer. Next. ये मस्त है, मस्त है. Production of cinematographic films. First of all, I want to make a technical correction in your daily life. If someone asked you कि weekend पे क्या किया and you say picture देखा, you are technically wrong, because picture word in English refers to a photograph, and no one goes to watch a photograph for 3 hours. It is not a picture. It is a movie. It is a film which is being played on the projector on the big screen. Picture नहीं है. It's a cinematographic film. So somebody who is a producer of cinematographic film. बोल हार्दिक example दे producer. क्या? राजमू हिरानी. There is one Raju Hirani and there is one Rajamouli. You mix both of them and he said what? Rajmo Hirani. ये क्या? By the way, Raju Hirani is a director. Munna by MBBS, 3 Idiots, PK, वो director है. Producer is, someone else. Vidhu Vinod Chopra, Amir Khan. I am talking about producers. लगा ही था. It depends on your preferences. Someone has to say Karan Johar because, sir, मुझे वो पसंद है. नहीं देखो तो what are they claiming? What are they? Sir, we are making what? We are making what? We are making cinema. Making cinema, good, but it is not going to be considered as manufacture. And last में they say any other notified, because what is the meaning of this point? Any other notified? Not just this chapter, but this point will also come in many chapters. Whenever they don't want to make an exhaustive list, they want to keep one last point as etc., a general point. So they will always keep the definition open. I will give you some examples from the income tax law only which you are aware of. For example, in income tax law, the definition of person. First they write specific points, individual, HUF, company, firm, but last may they keep one category open, AJP, artificial juridical person, anyone can fall in that. They want to keep the definition wide so that we can bring anybody in there. You understand? The definition of income, think about it. Starting with is specific, salary, house property, PGBP, capital gain, but last may what do they do? Anything else will come in there. Correct? Huh? Likewise, they will do this in lots and lots of chapters. Supposingly it is observed that people are, engaged in some kind of misuse, like literally saying that I incorporate a company and say what? I manufacture chartered accountants. So they have to prohibit it. But they will not wait till the budget. What is the meaning of notification? Notification means during the year we will make an announcement whenever we want. The best example of notification, something that you can relate, is cost inflation index of capital gain is never announced on the budget date. Cost inflation index will be announced during the year by way of notification. Now, your generation understands the meaning of notification maybe better than anybody else. The first thing that you want to check. I yesterday told you to check front camera face, the probability of starting specified business. People started checking notification. Do you realize notification in that context also means like an announcement? And government will bring some changes in the law by way of notifications, announcements. Do they have the power? Yes, they have the power because this point is added in the section. Adding this point means government has the power. So supposedly they want to add any other business, they can simply make an announcement without waiting for the budget. That is the meaning of notification, which is possible only if this last point is written. Supposedly, while drafting section 115 BAB or BAE, they don't write this form. That means only they are disqualified. I start claiming I make CAs, therefore I am taking the benefit. They can't stop me. But if they have this point, they will immediately bring a notification that this business also disqualified. And therefore, they keep this open window in a lot of chapters in income tax that whenever they want, they will disqualify someone. Clear here, everyone? So, these businesses look like manufacturing, but they are not going to be eligible for 17.16, but they can take the benefit of 25.16. Last couple of points. And do you realize all these points are extra conditions for manufacturers? When 115BAB was introduced, I want you to try to put some pressure on your brain and try to recollect. When was 115BAB introduced? 2019. At that time, there was a very, very stupid condition written. There was a very, listen to this. There was a very, very stupid condition written in DAB. Absolutely illogical. It has got nothing to do with manufacturing activity. No connection with manufacturing business. Stupid condition. Since 2019, I have been telling students that every other condition that they have written here is logical, sensible, makes sense. This is illogical condition, you will have to learn. And what I am saying is proven right because when they brought this section in 2023, they did not write that condition. Because maybe they also realized that this is an illogical condition. So this illogical condition is applicable only for companies. And because it is illogical, they have not brought this in cooperative society. If I become the finance minister of the country very soon, it is a matter of time. Talks are going on, announcement can come at any time, but I will still complete your batch. I will remove the condition from here also because it is illogical. You just have to learn it, but it is not going to be applicable in practical life also and mostly exam life also. They say you should not use any building which was earlier being used as a hotel or a convention center. You should not use, क्या बोला? You should not use any building which was previously being used, earlier being used as a hotel or convention center. You should not be using any building that is previously being used, that was previously being used as a hotel or convention center. Hotel, though, obviously, you know what it means. You know what is a convention center? Well, Geo World Convention Center, but what does that mean? Mall? No. Change the first alphabet. I'll tell you what. A banquet, a hall, or as Gujus like to call it. Gujus, anyone? Give me a loud cheer. Yeah. As Gujus like to call it, piece by piece ka whole hai. Well, Gujarati mein everyone says whole much. Hall, convention center, banquet. Now you understand. अरे your most probably your ICAI का felicitation मतलब आपका convocation क्या हो रहा है? Convocation is going to take place in such a place. I still remember my convocation when I was given my membership certificate, and that time I had applied for COP, but later I surrendered COP. They had kept it either Mumbai में at a place called Dadar, right outside the station. Dadar East में there is one big auditorium. नाम भूल गया. I forgot the name. Sorry. Shanmukh Anand is in Sion. और कुछ नहीं मालूम. No, you don't know the geography of your own city. Dadar East में, right outside the station, there is this. I forgot the name, but it was over there. Off late, they are conducting that. Try it over. Chhodna. Forget it. They are going to keep it at a very, very good place, nice place. Arsun Patil, food is also very nice. Convocation. Convocation ka that proper gown will be given to you, proper topi will be given to you. It is going to be one of the best days of your life. Best days of your life. Just imagine receiving your degree. You know, many a time we see that ICAI president is also present. But supposingly same day Mumbai and Delhi mein convocation and president is from north, so president will be over there. But you may still get the degree from the WIRC chairman or chairperson, whatever be the gender. It is going to be a moment of pride. Very, very big day of your life. They conduct such events in such halls, banquets, convention center. You should not be having any building which was earlier a hotel or convention center. ठीक है, condition you are saying, I am writing, I am learning, I am trying to understand. My question is, my doubt is, my problem is, sir, you are teaching me sections which are applicable for manufacturers. This point has got nothing to do with manufacturing activity or business. कोई connection ही नहीं है, you understand? This is a total waste of your time and my time. And, you know, earlier, there was still some element of doubt. कि यार सर गवर्नमेंट के माइंड में कुछ तो होगा that they have written this. Something must be in it. My habit is whenever a new section comes, I always try to think about what the government must be thinking when they brought this section. अगर ये नहीं होता, if this condition was not there, so what can happen? If this condition is there, so what can happen? And what can be the logic of the section? I still had some element of doubt, but after 2023, all doubts are eliminated. It is definitely an illogical point. Otherwise, they would have written it here. So guarantee say it is an illogical point. You learn it to be okay. You don't learn it and ignore, then also absolutely fine. Absolutely no problem. You should not be having any such bus. Clear? And bro, last point with which the big and complicated part of manufacturers also will get over. Point number 4. Are you calculating your net taxable total income on which you will be calculating your tax? Bro, at the end of the day, tax is calculated on. So have we calculated our NTTI? Come on. NTTI pe we are calculating tax. What rate we will apply on this NTTI? Remember, we are fulfilling all the conditions. All the conditions. What's your answer? 17.16? Oh, but wrong answer. This income will be split into. Welcome to CA. Studying direct tax is like getting married. Every time you think you are right, you are wrong. She will find out some mistake. She who? ICAI. I refer to ICAI as she because in my opinion ICAI is our mother body. So mother hai iske liye. She. Every time you think this time I have not made any mistake. You don't even realize what mistake you have made. Income will be split into special income and normal income. Correct hai? Special income will be always subjected to special rates. Old regime, new regime, etc. discussion is applicable only and only for normal. ये correct है? Everyone? चलो, the special income, special rate. Normal income at what rate? 17 Popat. Sir, yaar, sir. Son, normal income में you can have PGBP or other heads of income. देखो in the conditions that were taught, was there a restriction? Only manufacturing, no other business. Only manufacturing, no other business. So I am not allowed to do trading, I am not allowed to do service providing, along with manufacturing also not allowed. लेकिन सुनो, if I am doing manufacturing का business and I am getting money in my bank account, I will have bank interest. If I am acquiring plant and machinery, one day I will sell the plant and machinery. There will be short-term capital gain, block asset method. Block asset, it is always short-term. देखो, long-term capital gain is gone here. Hello, but short-term capital gain will come here. Correct है? Supposedly our company has some spare funds, profits earned from manufacturing. So we may have purchased maybe 1 or 2 house properties as an investment. We are earning rent from it. That rental income is taxable under house property. So no, business, only manufacturing. They are not saying you can't have other heads of income, otherwise these two sections can never get triggered, because bank interest everyone will. Restriction is on not having any other, but I can have. So soon, as far as PGBP is concerned, yes, there is a restriction. लेकिन other heads तो है ना bro. तो सुनो, we want to make one thing clear to you, that such a big incentive wala tax rate that we are giving you, where basic was 15 and final was 17.16, that 15% we are giving only for this. Of course, later we will be adding surcharge and HEC for all of them. Because we will add surcharge and HEC for all of them, here I am writing only the basic rate. The moment I add 10% surcharge and 4% cess, this 15 will automatically become, it will become 17.16. So in the chart I am writing only the basic rate. That 15% ka rate will be available only and only for PGBP. And that also only manufacturing. Other business you do so you get disqualified. Correct hai? Abhi PGBP gone. So how many other heads possible? 3. Because that can't be salary. Sorry, or Bhagwan. So no, this can only have house property, short-term capital gain. So no, only short-term, because long-term has gone here. Hello, long-term special rate hai na. So here we can have house property. Here we can have short-term capital gain and income from other sources. Correct hai? Everyone, for all the 3 heads, and in capital gain also I am talking only about short term. Salary not possible. Business gone. Long term capital gain gone. So here we have only what? House property, short term capital gain, IFOs. House property, short term capital gain, IFOs. Everyone is with me? If you answer this correctly now, because last few questions you've been answering wrong. You said NTTI ka 17.16. Then you said normal income का 17.16, वो भी wrong था. If at all 17.16 will come with surcharge and cess, this will become that only. It will come only here. Correct है? 15%, which effectively becomes 17.16, will not come here. These incomes are not eligible for 15. These incomes are not eligible for 15. These incomes will be taxable. At what rate? 22, which will later become 25.168. Why, sir? Why? Because go check the previous 2 sections. They are giving you 25.168 on all heads of income, not just manufacturing business. But these 2 sections are giving 17.16 only for manufacturing business. So your other heads of income will be taxable as per 115B AA या BAD. Only manufacturing will come in BAB and BAE. Understood? So other heads of income mein, wait. Other heads of income mein, what is the applicable tax rate? But still I am going to split it into short-term capital gain and balance. Balance mein what is left? House property and IFOs. रुको. You are also 22%. You are also 22%. Of course, then your reaction is, sir, kya time pass kar rahe ho?" I can simply write 22 against this only without this breakup. There is one small thing that I want you all to know and understand here, that when they are calculating income at 22% here for house property and IFRS, they have put one very, very important condition, and you will not come across this condition in practical life also in office, that here they have said you won't get any deduction of expenses. Normally, if we earn income, we get deduction of expense. For example, this will apply on profits. So no, here I can't write this no deduction, because in capital gain, if I say no deduction, it will become a big stupidity. That means sale consideration is income, which is wrong. In capital gain, I have to give deduction of cost of acquisition. In capital gain, I have to give deduction of cost of acquisition. So capital gain will be sale minus cost capital. But here, for example, house property. So no, standard deduction, interest deduction not allowed. You are understanding? In IFRS में rule है that any income you earn, against that you can subtract expenses that you have incurred. But here you will not get. We are giving you concessional rate of tax. You won't be getting any deduction of expenses against these incomes. Clear? And that is why we have to separate. Okay. Will I get deduction of expense in capital gains? Yes, I won't get deduction of expense in the other two heads of income. So, which we understand that this 8% benefit, you understand how 8, 25.168 and 17.16 is only for this activity. These activities will go in 25.168 only, and this will go in normal rate. Everyone done? We are still not done. We are still not done. Okay? थोड़ा सा explanation is still, because we live in a country called India. You already know that Indians never want to know the law. You know, forget about CA students, anyone whom I interact with as far as taxation is concerned. First target should be understand what is given in the section. They don't want to know that. Their query is, sir, अगर मैंने ऐसे किया तो this section is not applicable. Everyone wants to escape the sections. So idea. So no part. See if you understand this. See if you are finding this relatable to the doubt that you had asked me, and listen everyone else also. I have one business which is manufacturing and fulfilling all conditions here. Only business, no other activity. So 15, yeah, 17.16, whatever you say. So basic ka we are taking example. 15. Surcharge cess will come. 15. I have one more business part. One more business. Non-manufacturing. Trader, service provider, old manufacturer. 22%. Previous wala section. If I merge these two, yeah, if I liquidate old company and convert into new company, then I am going to be disqualified. So merger, liquidation, I won't be doing all that, because otherwise I will be disqualified. I will be coming only in 22. Idea. This is my disqualified company. This is going in 22. This is my manufacturing company. So this is going in 15. Both companies belong to me. Hello? Sell things from this company to this company at low prices. So iska selling price will be less. So profit will be less. Iska cost price will be less. So profit will be higher. Yeah, if you are selling things from year to year, sell at a very high price. Do both companies belong to you, first of all? So any internal trading is not going to change any profit or loss. But try to purposely show more and more profits in this company B. Sir, क्या मतलब है? Ultimately, am I actually earning that higher profit? No. Then why am I doing it? Come on. Because the rate of tax on company B is lower? No. So I will always manipulate my internal pricing in such a way that I am showing more profits in the eligible company and less profits in the ineligible company. Merger is not allowed, otherwise I will be disqualified. So what am I doing? New idea. Part merger mat kar. Idea is do internal trading and manipulate the pricing, and only you can control, no one else. And both companies are yours, no? So what price to deal with? No one else can interfere. Do you realize we are keeping such an open window for manipulation? Just incorporate one eligible company and show all the profit in that eligible company. Even profits of your other businesses, try to divert. Possible hai? So ladies and gentlemen, income tax department is not going to give you tax benefits easily, and 15% you have to agree is very low, because old regime after 5 lakh I start paying tax at 20%, bro. So 15% is very low. If AO finds supernatural profits, unexpected profits, where in the eligible business, matlab where if the AO finds that you are showing profits in manufacturing business which are unexpected profits. Supposingly someone enters manufacturing business for the first time. First few years you will have losses, but you are showing 5,000 crore ka profit, 10,000 crore ka profit. AO finds supernatural profits, unbelievable profits. तो कितना बड़ा discretionary power, such a big discretionary power is being given to assessing officer. Look at the power. Look at the power we are giving the officer. We are saying the AO has power to recompute. AO has power to do what? Recompute the profit that is going to be eligible for 15%. Yeah, if you don't understand complicated legal language, so listen to this. You have shown profit of 5,000 crore in the manufacturing business, and you want to pay 15% on 5,000 crore. AO says, "Ye pagal, first year of business hai. In first year, a new manufacturing business cannot earn more than 500 crores. So I will let you take 15% ka benefit only on 500 crore. The AO has the power to decide. He will decide how much will go in 15%. The AO has the power to recompute. So you were showing how much for 15%? 5,000 crore. AO thinks maximum should be 500 crore, and they are giving him the power. So finally, 15% tax will apply only on 500 crore, and the remaining 4,500 crore should go where? Logically speaking, 22. But no, cheating kiya na? Cheating kiya na? So as punishment, the excess, in our example, 4,500 crore, 30%. इससे better तो don't come only in this section. In any case, only manufacturing the profit goes in 15. Everything else goes in 22, and so many extra restrictions, so many extra conditions. Forget everything and rather go to 25.168. Forget that. Pay tax as per old regime. If in old regime your turnover 2 years ago is up to 400 crores, in any case you have to pay only 25% plus 4%. In fact, you can take all the exemption deduction also. I advise you to remain in the old regime only. You understood it? The excess will go not in 22, it will go in 30. Matlab, I am showing manufacturing a profit. I'll repeat the example. 5,000 crore. AO thinks normal profit of manufacturing is only 500. So 15% only for 500. And the excess will go in not 22, not 15, 30. Ye tha basic rate of tax. Now, whether this 15, this 22 or this 30 is basic rate, in all this, we will add a surcharge of 10% and we will add HEC of 4%. We will add surcharge and HEC 10% and 4%. Matlab, suno, 15 mein to we were going to add only, 22 maybe we will add, and 30 maybe we will add. 10% है 4%. क्लियर है everyone? And that's your manufacturers का discussion. That's your end of new taxation regime. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, deviyo, sajjano, mitro, congratulations, badai ho, abhinandan, because that actually marks completion of our first chapter, that is introduction, the tax rates. Thank you very, very much. Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Let us continue with our next chapter. We are going to start a chapter called double taxation avoidance agreement. As I had promised that every chapter will start on a new page. So at intermediate we have date wise PDF, but in final we have chapter wise PDF. You are writing the class notes, good enough. You are not writing class notes, no problem. क्योंकि handwritten book में all of this is covered. Okay, so next chapter, second chapter of our syllabus. Hello, understand करो please. That way it is the first chapter, लेकिन I count introduction tax rates as the first chapter, so it will become second chapter. Name of our second chapter, double taxation avoidance agreement, and therefore short may we call it what? DTAA. Sometimes these agreements are also known as treaty. Yeah, bro? Treaty. A treaty between two countries. So you can call it DTAT. In the school history, you must have studied treaty signed between this leader and that leader. Or international language में it is also known as convention. DTAC also you can call it. You can call it DTAA, you can call it DTAT, you can call it DTAC. These are only three names. Agreement or treaty or convention is one and the same thing. Can one person have two names? Can you know Virat Kohli is also known as Chiku? Can one person? Can one person have multiple names? Answer, sir. He again said something. So treaty is also known as convention, is also known as agreement. If you open ICAI का study material, I think you should open ICAI study material. Don't you think so? क्यों open नहीं करना है? देखो, as far as direct tax is concerned, even if you don't touch ICAI study material, it is okay, because all the questions and illustrations I already told you are going to be covered. Class book or additional question bank. Somewhere in our database, every single question will be covered. Again, I remember I told you once that top 10 ways in which you can be successful in CA exam, जिसमें number 1 is writing practice. In the top 10, one of the points is immense respect to ICAI study material. You know, kids of this generation, they don't understand because they are too much into पढ़ाई करना है तो any YouTube free lecture, मतलब most of the things you want to follow as far as chat GPT or Google search or that is concerned. But don't you understand that exams are being conducted by ICAI? So questions are decided by them, answers are decided by them, and many a times you will see word to word questions come from ICAI. You know, people often ask me, sir, exam में से इतने questions were directly from your book. Same question with same number, same assessee. Sir, how can I copy from ICAI database and they are asking from that only? Just that ICAI database has many RTPs, many MTPs. Study material का question different. अच्छा, study material still okay because latest study material will be released for your assessment here. You have to solve those questions. But problem is RTPs are outdated. Think about it. An RTP that was applicable for May 25 or May 24 or May 23 contains questions and answers, but you can't solve those questions as per those answers now because of changes. All ICAI RTPs, when I say I cover all the RTPs in my book, I don't just cover the RTPs. The questions of those RTPs are amended as per present assessment, so that you don't have to study past RTPs. Past RTPs का amended, ऐसा हुआ है मेरे साथ. There is a student who is solving question from RTP. MCQ solve किया, sir, answer is not matching. मैंने बोला, you see, that is the same question in my book also. In my book, the answer is same as your answer, because they have solved as per old assessment year, but I have solved as per new assessment year, the one which I taught you. So I personally do this. At least 3 or 4 months in a year, I am only making books. All answers are amended as per applicable assessment year. As per applicable assessment. Giving 5 books at CA final is not a joke. You have no idea how much time, energy, and cost लगता है. Printing day by day, as paper is becoming expensive, printing is becoming expensive. ठीक है, मतलब that's a part of our day-to-day profession. But I have done this because I want you not to run here and there for different material, everything at one place. Students, unfortunately, do not take ICAI study material seriously. They don't solve all questions. I still remember, I told you that I gave the first CPT ever. So when we were studying for PE1, our teachers used to make us solve subjective questions, full-fledged sums. CPT was MCQ exam, and first time Institute has released MCQ ka exam. So unfortunately, our teachers also did not have MCQs, because earlier Institute ka bhi MCQ they never asked you. First time I wanted to practice MCQs. Because without practicing MCQs, only solving questions, making balance sheets is not going to help in exam. Because exam I don't have to make the balance sheet. What did I do? I picked up ICAI ka new module, CPT ka module. Every chapter ke end pe they had given questions. That was the only database of questions available as far as MCQ is concerned. Because coaching classes did not have a single question. I solved all the MCQs. Accounts, maths, economics, and law. 4 subjects now. All MCQs. And the entire paper came from that. Full paper. 172 out of 200. MCPT 200 marks. 200 marks. 172. 86% all India 90. Yeah, I did not do anything great. Only thing I did different was I had solved everything from ICAI study material, and I could see in the exam most questions come from. I don't know about other subjects, and I don't want to comment or disrespect anybody else or any other subject or any other respected teacher. I am very clear that in my subject, even if you don't touch the module, it is fine. But in other subjects, you please double check. If everything is covered, then you are safe. ये clear है? In my subject also, see, I am making a claim that I have covered everything. But हो सकता है I am giving false information. This is only the 4th lecture. No, you should have some trust issues. You trust me? Don't trust me. The only people who said yes were who I taught inter. Check किया मैंने. Check किया. Okay, don't trust blindly. Check कर ICAI का study material. Check कर, compare the chapters in ICAI study material with the chapters that we are covering. I said salary house property is not there in your syllabus. Check कर. Check the questions after receiving additional question bank, because some questions may be in this book, some questions may be in that book. In ICAI study material, this chapter is called double taxation relief. ICAI के study material, this is called double taxation relief. What is the importance of this chapter? It is a part of international tax. It is a part of international tax. Matlab, can I say it falls in 30 marks of your paper? Because your paper is 70 marks direct tax and 30 marks international tax. Hello? Hello? In 30 marks international tax, you have about 6-7 chapters. Out of that, double taxation avoidance agreement happens to be one of the most important chapters. Reason number 1, it has a fixed weightage. It always comes in exam for 6 to 8 marks. Always comes 6 to 8 marks. First reason. Second reason, it is a very small chapter. Only that today's lecture we have very limited time remaining. So obviously today we may not be able to complete this, but believe me, tomorrow's lecture chapter will get. Monday we will do a new chapter. Second chapter over. With questions mostly. Very small chapter. Yeah, maybe questions can we may not get time, but chapter will get. And third, sir, it is a very easy chapter. If the question comes for 6 to 8 marks, believe me, you can get full marks also. Unless you make some silly, stupid calculation mistake, it is possible to score full marks in this question. So, easy, important, and scoring. Smart students always divide their chapters into ABC. Most important chapters, I will definitely do multiple times and revise properly on the last day. Least important chapters, I will do them first time. But last day, I may or may not get time. Moderately important chapters, first time do them properly, and last day at least go through them briefly. Double taxation avoidance agreement will fall in this. Easy, scoring, important. And I know what is going on in your mind. Sir, to ek baar ye wala pura list de do na sir. So that we know which lecture we have to attend, which lecture we don't have to attend. No. Today I will not give you the list. Maximum I can tell you that DTAA falls in category A. Understood? If you are ever made to pay double tax, will you like it? Will you like it if you are paying double tax? Bro, I belong to the Marwadi community. And we have a problem in paying single tax. Double tax is out of question. We don't like to pay tax once. So one thing is for sure, if there is double taxation, we have to give you something. And what is relief? Basically reduction of your tax liability. So whenever there will be double taxation, we will give you some relief from your tax liability. But in order to understand that relief, because this chapter ka exam question will be what? Calculate the relief. Exam ka question will be what? Calculate the relief. Relief calculation is exam study. But we can't go to relief unless we first know. Kya sir? What do you mean by double taxation? So first step, we will understand what is double taxation. Second step, what are types of double taxation. Third step, what is the hardship because of double taxation. And finally, how to release or relief or give relief in that hardship by reducing your tax liability, the calculation of relief. Question number 1, what do you mean by double taxation? What do you mean by double taxation? Globally, there are some countries which do not have any income tax at all. Income tax in it. We call them tax haven countries. एक मिनट tax haven नहीं है जन्नत no income tax. For example, UAE, Dubai there is no income tax, but they have introduced Dubai VAT 5%, so everything is expensive by 5%. In fact, just to share this news with you, because this is going to open a huge range of professional opportunities for you as qualified chartered accountants. Dubai has recently introduced corporate income tax. Matlab they have started taxing the companies and LLC. Over there they call them LLC. Income tax they started. Very thin book. Morning if you start reading Dubai ka income tax, till evening it will get over. Unlike our income tax, bro, it doesn't seem to get over only. Very small income tax. And anybody who has studied this complicated income tax law, for them it is very easy. In fact, Indian chartered accountants will be the most demanded people in Dubai because they are the ones who can easily manipulate any kind of law. And it is a very good place to settle because one, language is never a problem. You talk to anyone in English, they will reply in Hindi. Dubai mein it is Indians or Pakistanis. Most of them are Indians and Pakistanis. Everyone talks in Hindi. Distance. Supposingly you stay US, UK. If someday you want to come back to India, I know of relatives who could not come back to perform the cremation of their parents because America and UK are too far. The neighbors only perform the final rites. But Dubai, mein, that is not. Whenever you feel that you are homesick, you miss your family, it is a matter of 2.5, 3 hours. You can come from Dubai to Mumbai, which is same as Mumbai to Kolkata. Mumbai say you reach Karachi faster than Kolkata. Because flying time is on the basis of distance, no? Distance is not over. Food. For example, I am a vegetarian. There are some months in a year I don't eat underground vegetables. वो Jainism में कुछ months are वैसे Jainism says don't eat all throughout the year, but थोड़ा flexibility है. To the extent you can follow, you follow. थोड़ा flexibility है. So some months I don't eat at all. But Dubai में कोई problem ही नहीं है. You want veg food, you get Jain food, you get everything. And there is one more thing. देखो, I don't know whether I should say it in class or no. लेकिन ये बहुत important factor है that they have jet sprays in toilet. It is very, you think it is irrelevant, but believe me that Asian countries में होता है. Now, the moment I went to Switzerland या Australia, every morning there is tension, there is pressure. मतलब जाओ क्या नहीं जाओ, कैसे जाओ? Then mental stress because they don't use water. नहीं पता. But Asia की कोई भी country you go to Malaysia, you go to any of these places, यहाँ पे facility. You can easily settle. In fact, I have got a good number of students who are settled in Dubai. If you want any professional opportunity, some of them have become good big businessmen over there. कुछ ना कुछ opportunity I will find out for. See, enrolling a class where we are meeting every day, whether online or offline, creates that personal touch between you and me. We can contact each other whenever we want. I have some work, you have some work. We can contact each other. And this thing you must agree also, especially those who have been in the past intermediate. Everyone is my student here. There's no differentiation. But then point is that I started teaching entering this classroom from November 23. So you'll know this, that every time you message me for any reason, you must have got my. ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ that I did not reply, whatever be the reason. Because your numbers are saved, I know which student is. I remember everyone by their names. I remember minute details of everyone. I still remember that he was the highest or second highest in the first mock test paper. Because this is my habit when it comes to maintaining a personal touch with my students, always. So you will come and tell me, sir, यहाँ पे Dubai में कोई opportunity है, तो just see. And probably we can help each other. When we belong to a profession where across the country we are only 4 lakh people, let us find out ways how we can make each other grow. यार, I will send you to Dubai. तो good no, आपका कुछ काम. अरे ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है that supposingly some junior of yours in office or your family member or your relative wants to pursue CA. तो obviously देखो, if I am helping you, now you don't say sir इसमें 194H too deep, no? 194H, no idea. Google ऐसे openly words तो बोलने का. Secret word है Google. 194H, you know it. So you don't ask for it because I will not give you. Maximum I will give you good wishes. That is also important. You understand? My point is simple. We must help each other. And see, देखो, I don't have to do anything great. I just have to make a couple of phone calls. कि कुछ है क्या, कोई opportunity है, my student is coming. Meet him. See if you can help each other. And I know you are going to listen to me. I know that student is also going to listen to me. Good people should meet good people. Dubai में good number of opportunities are coming up because they have introduced corporate income tax. Very soon they may probably introduce individual personal income tax also, because Arabic countries का biggest source of income historically was sale of oil to world. When you are pursuing CA, only coming to class morning as a half dead, by the time you are awake it is already 10 o'clock. That's not the only objective of coming to class. You have to have a macro picture of what is happening in the world economy, in the Indian economy. Arabic countries are no longer able to make money by sale of oil because most countries in the world are moving to electric vehicles. So now that government is finding alternate sources of income by introducing marginal taxes, first VAT, then corporate income tax, very soon personal income. Dubai is very smart in all these things, and therefore it's been more than a decade. They are continuously working on their tourism. Today, tourism is one of the biggest revenues of Dubai. In fact, they are trying to become so useful for. They are giving a free trip to Indian startups. That if you have any startup idea, please come and incorporate your company in our country. We will provide you all government infra. We will give you ticket to come to Dubai. Because if Indian startups go in Dubai, so Indians will come and work over there. If lots of Indians come and work over there, so Indian tourist will also come thinking, "Arey yaar, mera relative acha, let's go. I'll call him and ask." Easy, it is not very expensive also. So 1 dirham is about 20-25 rupees. Not very expensive. So we will have more and more income in the form of tourism, in the form of VAT, and this is their brain. Marginally, they have introduced income tax, but they don't have full-fledged income tax. And there are some other countries in the world which do not have a single rupee of income tax. So there are some countries which don't have any income tax at all. Those countries are called tax haven. And then there are some other countries which have income tax. For example, India. India has income tax. Thank God. Thank God India has income tax. Well, you should thank God, because only because India has income tax, today you are able to enjoy such a good lecture at the hands of this. I mean, just imagine, India mein income tax nahi hota to you would have come here, I would have come here. Nahi, we would have both been doing something else today. India has income tax. Any country which levies income tax will levy on the basis of any of these two principles. Any country in the world. And this is not an Indian phenomenon. This is not an Indian philosophy. Whichever country, if there is income tax in America, if there is income tax in UK, if there is income tax in Australia, whichever country levies income tax, it will levy on the basis of the following two principles. Principle number one, the principle of residence, and principle number two, the principle of source. Principle of residence and principle of source. The country in which you are a resident is known as your home country. This country where you are resident will be called your home country. And the country in which you are earning income, you are having source of your income, will be called your host country. Country of residence will be called home country, and country of income will be called host country. When you were newly qualified, foundation qualified students, new students in CA Inter, you came to a direct tax class for the first time, whichever class you attended a direct tax class for the first time in your life. You were taught with income tax. Income tax is payable by every person in each assessment year on the net taxable total income earned during the previous year. But our calculation of income and tax depends on residential status. Taxpayers will be divided in two categories, resident and non-resident. Incomes will be divided in two categories, Indian income and foreign income. If you are a resident, you will have to pay tax on Indian income, foreign income, global income, total income, world income. Resident has to pay tax on world income. And if you are a non-resident, let's talk about in Indian context. If you are a non-resident of India, you still have to pay tax in India, at least on your Indian income. Matlab resident has to pay tax on world income, global income. Non-resident has to pay tax on Indian income. And why did we have that thing in our chapter, residential status, second chapter of Inter? Because of this. This concept is not an Indian concept. India is following this. Resident world income, non-resident Indian income. But not just India. Whichever country has income tax, except the tax haven countries. Whichever country has income tax, whether India or US or UK or Australia or New Zealand, any country which will give income tax. Either you are resident. If you are resident, then that country will be called home country. And if you are non-resident, so only if you are earning income over there, that country will be called your host country. So, home country will levy tax on residents on local income as well as foreign income. Global income, and host country will levy tax on non-residents on their that country ka local income. This is somewhere going to result in or trigger your concept called double taxation. Double taxation. Globally, there are, and by the way, ये जो concept है, which I put in bracket, very easy, small concept. Globally, there are two principles of levy of tax. क्या? Residence and source. Home country will apply principle of residence, and host country will apply principle of source. We have about 6-7 chapters in international tax. Pick up randomly any chapter, whether it is this. Soon we will do something called non-resident taxation. Why is non-resident supposed to pay tax in India? Principle of source. Pick up a chapter called transfer pricing. Pick up both. There are 3 chapters which I will do from ICAI study material. Base erosion, profit shifting. Introduction, I told you. BEPS, tax treaties, model tax convention. Every chapter of international tax will start with this. DTAA also started with this one. Every chapter of international tax will have this. This is such an important concept. Very small, very easy, but it will come in every chapter. If a country wants to levy income tax, not India, but any country in the world, if any country wants to levy income tax, it will levy on any one of the 2 principles. The 2 principles are going to be principle of residence and principle of source. If you are resident, then world income. If you are non-resident, then at least the local income. India के point of view से बोले तो Indian income. Correct? This will somewhere result in some kind of double taxation. How, sir? Example. Okay. Let us take an example. Mr. H. Hardik. Hardik, your attempt is Jan 27. अच्छा, so time पे you had started article change. तो September के लिए eligible है. See, being eligible and being prepared are 2 different things. If September is your target, September 26, then your current situation should be, sir, FR हो गया, AFM हो गया, audit हो गया है, SPOM modules are over, only DTIDT is remaining, then you are fit for September. And I know many students are somewhere hiding their faith. If you are supposed to give September 26, it is only DTIDT and IBS can be done only after DTIDT is over. If anything other than this is left, so you are already late for September 26. ना कोई ये तो नहीं सर ये इस साल का सितंबर नहीं okay. If you are somewhere like sir I am Jan 27, कोई टेंशन नहीं bro. If you are Jan 27, still by now FR, AFM and SPOM, या SPOM या audit, one of them, then you are on track. So if audit is over, you can take time for SPOM, or SPOM is over, you can take time for audit, and DTIDT are going on. You have to start working on CA final when you clear intermediate, not in the last 1 year. You can't do 3 years ka job in 1 year. 3 years ka job has to be done in 3 years. But we are CA students, just in time. Everything we want to do on the last date, क्योंकि office में भी we are taught that only. File written only on the due date, not before that. है ना? तो Mr. H, September 26. September 26. तो result कब आएगा? Last week of October. Most probably last week of October. Last year also September का result was announced on 30th or 31st October. And November का तो उन्होंने मतलब record कर दिया था. November attempt of CA final last year was last November attempt. 26 December. First time I have seen in my entire career of almost 2 decades now, student and teacher. 17th January has always, 15 to 17th January was always the November result cut date. They gave in December itself. पता है? तो 31st October में result है. Immediately after result, you go for, first of all, your family decides to auction you. 1, 2, 3 sold. शादी होगी. Okay? And immediately after your, ऐसा होता है ना? Indian parents, and the moment you get your degree, so I hope you understand auction में bidding will be very high. CA degree है ना, तो marriage market में value market price increases. FMB. तो let us assume कि October में result came, November में you got married, and immediately you left for your post marriage picnic. तो किधर गया हार्दिक? You will have to give an example and don't say sir Ahmedabad. Don't say Mathera. Don't say Lonavala. In case there is confusion, so Hardik, you have to say foreign country. Because I am explaining double taxation. I am not doing Hardik ka personal life discussion. स्विट्जरलैंड नहीं, मैं शादी के बाद स्विट्जरलैंड नहीं गया था। तो हार्दिक, अच्छा हुआ हार्दिक डिसाइडेड दिस फॉर हिमसेल्फ। बाय द वे, दिस इज नॉट योर डिसीजन अलोन। ओके, एंड गुड हार्दिक, यू डिड नॉट आस्क मी कि सर किधर जाना चाहिए, अदरवाइज आई वुड हैव लेफ्ट यू एंड आई वुड हैव गॉन विद। तो हार्दिक, Mr. H, first of all, Hardik, you are resident in India because your picnic is temporary. 182 days makes you resident. Correct? You have gone for a picnic in Switzerland as a short form. Abhi Swiss franc is a very, very expensive currency. Switzerland mein either you use euro या Swiss franc, and both of them are almost equal to 100 rupees. मतलब स्विट्जरलैंड में उधर माउंट टिटलिस पे तेरे को मन होगा ना, सर बहुत ठंडी है, आई वांट टू ड्रिंक कॉफी, तो 5 में मिल जाएगा। अरे वहां 5 रुपए का कॉफी, नो इट इज नॉट 5 रुपए का कॉफी, इट इज 500 रुपीस का कॉफी, बिकॉज 1 स्विस फ्रैंक 5 फ्रैंक्स मतलब 500 रुपीस। well Mount Italy say you come down, no, there is a vada pav shop over there, they sell vada pav, samosa pav, you'll feel vada pav 5, one vada pav only 5 rupees नहीं franc, तो 500 rupees का vada pav है। so you have to tell yourself after one, bus full, you have to convince yourself after one. It's a very expensive, Europe in general is very, very expensive also. So, but ठीक है, chartered accountant and you can afford, I hope you understand. So, picnic in Switzerland, but Hardik का एक calculation mistake हो, that the person whom he got married to, normal people eat 3 meals per day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. She wants food every few minutes. 1 hour के पहले तो खाना खाने नहीं आया hungry. तो हार्दिक, every time your wife is hungry, you will buy food for her. You can't tell your newly married wife कि पैसा खत्म हो गया, I don't have money. तो otherwise you will come back India alone. अरे food तो you will have to buy, no. Now money is over. Money is over, but your trip is not over, and food is still required. So Hardik did a temporary job in Switzerland, and he earned income of ₹100. Actually, man, first of all, it won't be in rupees; it will be in franc. And secondly, it won't be 100 rupees. So that is only 1 franc. Example, okay? ऐसे rupees में convert करके you have earned 100 rupees. Where? Switzerland. Any foreign country, मतलब it can be country X, country Y. Switzerland was only an example. Okay, and we are assuming that this country has income tax. नहीं तो पता चला if Switzerland is a tax haven country, then all example will become wrong. We have to talk about only those countries which have income tax. My question is, Hardik, who has earned 100 rupees in Switzerland, will he pay tax on this 100 rupees? My question is this income going to be taxable? Taxable where? My question is this income going to be taxable in India? Is this income taxable in Switzerland? And we are assuming they have income tax. Okay, Hardik or anyone else in the class, you can answer this. Is this 100 taxable in India? Kya? Yes, it is foreign income, but you are a resident, and therefore yes, it is taxable in India. Let us take an example. Hardik falls India में तो tax rates we are aware. मैं chapter complete किया, तो assume अबे chartered accountant in foreign country में holiday के लिए you have तो 30% rate. Example. And is this income going to be taxable in Switzerland? That is my question. Is this income taxable in Switzerland? Yes. Arey, he is non-resident over there. He is resident of India, but that is his country of source, and therefore it will be taxable there also. Example 40. Do you understand? Do you understand? On the same income of ₹100, he has earned 100 once. He is paying tax in India. How much? Come on, 30. He is paying tax in Switzerland. How much? 40. Do you realize? Work once, earn once, and pay tax twice. मतलब you are earning 100. Out of 100, 30 is going away. To whom Indian government. 40 is going away. Where? Switzerland ka government. Bro, so what are you left with? And right now, considering Hardik's story, there is a question mark that forget the monetary part, he may not be left with. I think you understood. What are you left with? Do you understand the problem, Hardik? So, somewhere, this is your double taxation. If you have to ask me, sir, please define what is double taxation. When the same person, I'll do this in writing tomorrow, but when the same person are both tax liabilities being paid by the same person on the same income, is this 30 and 40 calculated on the same income of 100? When the same person, is it same person, are they paying both tax on the same income? Is it same income 100? When the same person on the same income, same person, same income is paying tax twice, that will become a case of double taxation, and we will give you relief from that double taxation. What is the definition of double taxation? I am not writing it now. You will also not write it now because we will do it in writing tomorrow. Reason brother. There are two types of double taxation: juridical double taxation and economic double taxation. The definition that I have given you right now: same person, same income getting tax price. Same person, same income getting tax price is juridical. Economic is something else. So I will take an example of that also, discuss that also, define this, and we will study that together. This introduction was only to start and make you understand that same income ke upar double tax is coming on the same person when the same person on the same income is paying twice. Why is it happening? If you are resident in one country, source in another country, resident in one country, source in another country, so home country will apply principle of residence, host country will apply principle of source, and same income pay you will have to pay tax twice. That is genuine hardship. And to save you from that hardship, we have the chapter called double taxation relief. Very, very important concept and chapter in international taxation. Please make sure that you are on time in tomorrow's class.